Have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Another blow to Sir Keir Starmer as Labour rebels conjure up fresh plots to oust him.
A GB News exclusive reveals Wes Streeting aims to beat Angela Rayner to the punch in a fast-moving race to topple the Prime Minister.
Yes, John Healey, meanwhile, is quietly being put forward as the unity candidate. But just how long can the Prime Minister cling on?
Yes, well, the Prime Minister was here at the Munich Security Conference, always much more comfortable on the international stage than at home. He's back in London now, where his problems are piling up.
Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was killed by a lethal toxin under the orders of Vladimir Putin. That's according to the UK government. Navalny's wife Yulia spoke to Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper.
Now, it's not just words, it's scientific proof that my husband, Alexei Navalny, was poisoned and killed by Russian government and by Vladimir Putin in Russian prison.
Police chiefs and ministers demand a probe into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's role as UK trade envoy amid fresh accusations of leaked secrets.
And Boots becomes the first high street giant to allow customers to buy weight loss jabs over the counter. We'll be debating, should we sell fat jabs on our high streets?
And last orders for a 19-year-old pub landlord who's been forced to close the business due to financial pressures.
A very good morning. Not good enough. That was the damning verdict of England coach Steve Borthwick as the Three Lions were humbled by Scotland, who reclaimed the Calcutta Cup at Murrayfield. Elsewhere, it was a mixed day for Team GB at the Winter Olympics, and it was a bad night for officials in the FA Cup.
It's not quite as sunny out there compared to Saturday. There's further rain in the forecast. I will have all of the details coming up shortly.
Well, it's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Anne Diamond.
And I'm Mark White. This is GB News Breakfast.
Well, it was snowing as I left my house this morning.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. It is very cold. You can feel how the temperature's dropped,
It is
can't you? Suddenly
noticeably
dropped.
cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do apologise to people who are living with snow and all the rest of it in the Highlands and Islands. But yeah, it's gone very cold. And I seriously think the only thing that warms you up when you get that cold, which I am at the moment, complaining, is soup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes.
And we are all very keen on soup.
Oh, huge, yeah. You don't have to convince me. It's a big Scottish thing, you know. We love soup.
But my soup on Christmas Day was your starter, wasn't it?
Oh, just fantastic.
Favourite?
You make the best soup.
Yeah, he's very good at making soup.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
really enjoy it.
I do it. There's something very creative about making soup.
Yeah, well, I started with one recipe, and I thought, well, it's like anything, you get confident, don't you?
Yes.
Try something else, and just variations on the themes, and you work out what you like and what you don't like, what ingredients are really expensive.
You haven't brought any in today, have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, what a shame.
If you'd messaged me
really
last
do
night,
with it.
If you'd messaged me last night,
Yes, I know. You're very good at that.
Next week,
I make a cracking leek and potato soup, I think.
Yeah.
I like it chunky.
No, that's great. Because my grandmother, late grandmother, used to make potato and leek soup all the time.
It's not potato and leek, is it? It's leek and potato.
Yeah, I think you find it's potato and leek.
Is that right? That's interesting.
Tatties, no? In Scotland?
Tatties? Well, you're thinking leeks and tatties, aren't you?
Potato and leek, that's what we call it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, in my household.
Yeah, so your favourite's potato and leek. My favourite's leek and potato. Yeah. What about you?
I like my own chestnut one. It's not one you'd buy in a...
No, you brought one in a couple of years ago, didn't you?
Yeah,
you
I
actually brought in a chestnut.
Yeah, we tried it here, didn't we? That was on Christmas, but I do think chestnut is actually quite a Christmassy one, isn't it? Because you would have chestnuts.
What else would go in the soup with chestnut? It's just...
Well, you'd have the staple of most of my soups, which the base of them would be...
onion.
Yeah, onion, celery.
Yeah, celery.
And plenty stock cubes.
Yes,
yeah. You've got to be careful of those, though, because the salt content's very high.
Oh, right.
And some of them got far too much salt in.
Yes.
And you have to know which ones, don't you?
Yeah,
But,
you do.
Yeah, soup. What's your favourite soup? Get in touch and let us know.
But it's the stock cube makes the flavour, though.
Oh, it does,
Yeah,
I do think it does.
Yeah.
I can have stock
Here we
cube
go.
just in a cup, in a large cup.
Yeah.
That's enough for me.
Yeah.
Only one a week, though.
Is that right?
Well, yeah. I just think there's just a lot of salt. That's all. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
You don't want to fire up the arteries.
No, indeed. But I quite like I know we've got to rush on television. I do sort of chopped up bits of chicken with cabbage and lots of sort of ground black pepper. You know, sort of chicken and cabbage.
Yeah, but you're dead right about celery. It's not. You wouldn't think it, but it adds a bit of zing to the soup, doesn't it?
I love it.
It's got a bit of bite.
Love celery.
Okay,
we're mad, don't you?
I know, but talking about it has actually warmed us up a bit. And I am sorry if my throat's playing up now. Yours was yesterday. We'll be lucky to get through the programme, won't we? I tell you what, though, if we think we've got problems, just imagine what it must be like for Keir Starmer at the moment. One headache after another. But in a defiant message to The Sun on Sunday, the Prime Minister says he's coming out fighting, vowing to lead Labour into the next election.
Well, it comes as Labour rebels are said to be quietly lining up John Healey as a so-called unity candidate.
Yes, that raised a few eyebrows. GB News exclusive has also revealed that Wes Streeting is plotting to beat Angela Rayner to the punch in a fast-moving race, and it hasn't even started yet, to topple the Prime Minister. He wants to get in there first.
Well, our chief political correspondent, Catherine Foster, joins us now from Munich, where she's been covering the Munich Security Conference over the weekend. Catherine, good morning to you. As you said before, Sir Keir Starmer much more comfortable on the international stage. I mean, would you describe it as a particularly successful conference for him?
Yes, I think it is. And good morning from a very cold and snowy Munich. I heard your soup conversation. I'd just like to add that my favourite soup is lentil and smoked bacon.
Oh, very nice.
I probably shouldn't mention, but there you go. Yeah, I could do with a cup of that right now. But anyway, yes, number 10 will be happy with this outing. It was very brief. He got here after we arrived for GB News. He went back yesterday afternoon. But they are happy with how his speech went. It certainly went down very well in the hall because, of course, he talked about the need for Europe to step up, something that has become clearer and clearer. yes, since Russia invaded Ukraine, then since Donald Trump came to office, and most notably since he started threatening to take Greenland by one means or another, something that he's still talking about, the fact they still want Greenland, and in fact has been discussed by the American delegation here. He talked about the fact that we've got to be ready to fight. We're going to have to spend a lot more on defence. We've pledged to get to 5% by 2035, but actually the numbers that the government are currently putting out, we are a very, very long way away from that. I think we've only pledged to get to 2.6 by like next year. So I think there's going to be very painful choices coming down the line on that. The rhetoric and the reality, I think, a bit different. But the audience very pleased to hear him say Britain is no longer the Britain of the Brexit years and wanting to get much, much closer to Europe. That got a round of applause here, though I think some of our GB News viewers will be worrying about what that might mean. But yes, successful here. This Munich Security Conference has been going on for decades, and just in the last couple of years it's become really important, made a lot of headlines. Last year with J.D. Vance, the US Vice President, really ruffled feathers here. This year Marco Rubio here for the US calmed the waters to an extent, speaks in a much more conciliatory tone. They still had a pretty tough message for Europe, and of course we had the news that Alexei Navalny, the Russian opposition leader, was indeed poisoned by Russia via a toxin from a poison dart frog. There's just a street cleaner coming by, I hope you can hear. But the Prime Minister back in London now, and all sorts of trouble awaiting him, because despite the fact that he has clung on this week, and he said here, well, I've ended the week stronger than I started it, which is a good place to be. That is by no means the end of it, because we know that despite what the Cabinet say publicly, there's plenty of people who want his job. Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, Angela Rayner, who was Deputy Prime Minister, currently out of Cabinet because it transpired that she had not paid £40,000 in stamp duty. So we don't know exactly when the challenge will come. It could come as soon as after the Gorton and Denton by-election in just a couple of weeks. Wes Streeting could decide to go then, because Angela Rayner's tax return, tax nightmare is still unlikely to be resolved. Or it could, I think, more likely perhaps come after the May local elections, which are expected to be pretty horrendous for Labour. But the Prime Minister, I think, will have had a good weekend and a bit of a breath. A weird thing to say, given the state of the sort of global order, but real trouble waiting for him back home.
OK, Catherine, thanks very much indeed. Get off now and try and see if you can find a sort of pop-up soup kitchen somewhere.
Stephen Francis recommends, Catherine, homemade pea and ham soup with crusty bread. How does that sound?
That sounds absolutely amazing. I think at this moment in time, I'll settle for a cup of tea, but it took 24 hours without tea yesterday.
Oh, well done. What a marathon. Thank you. Angela's been in touch, said, morning, everyone. I'm making butternut squash soup today, but it's a terrible vegetable to prepare. I think you end up with a lot of stuff all over the kitchen table. Barry says, I'm not so keen on butternut squash, but I like to use Turk's turban squash. Makes a lovely soup. Don't know that one. And then somebody else, Jan, is tomato and red pepper. Now that is nice, yeah. That's a good one, and it tastes hot and is hot.
And it can grab you by the back of the throat and sort out our coughing issues.
It would, wouldn't it?
Or
yes.
Maybe exacerbate.
It's nice to know so many people that agree with us that soup is all you can think about on a cold morning like this. Stilton and broccoli, says Charlie.
Oh,
yes,
love that. That's
nice.
A good one.
Pauline says homemade chicken or turkey soup. And never waste the bones. That sort of makes the stock, doesn't it, for you? Wilhelmina says French onion with gooey bread and cheese topping. Nice. Very, very nice.
All of these, I'll have them all.
And how about this one? Morning, my favourite is barley and mushroom.
Barley, man.
Now that sounds very interesting. Love the sound of that. So yeah, keep them coming. Broth. broth. You can put anything in a broth, I suppose, can't you? And tomato and veg mix for me. And William says, I'm now starving with cravings. Sorry about that. We're joined by political commentator James Rampton.
You look like a soup man, James.
I am. I mean, like your contributor there, I am thinking, well, I'll just leave now and go and get a bowl of soup.
Sorry about that.
I love a good soup, and all of the ones there have just made me absolutely ravenous.
Yeah. Well, but we were saying that, I mean, yes, we're feeling the cold, and I imagine sort of feeling that you're left out in the cold. Keir Starmer has had such a lot of problems.
See what you did there.
I fancy. But, I mean, he needs a good sort of thorough soup, doesn't he?
He needs a chicken soup to cure all ills.
Yeah.
To continue this
because,
metaphor.
I mean, after all, they're plotting against him again in the headlines today.
No, I mean, he really is in the soup, isn't he?
Yes.
Sorry, yes. That one was too easy not to jump into, that bowl of soup. But he really is in trouble. And the thing is, as Catherine rightly said, he's somebody who's more revered abroad than he is at home. Never hear Keir seems to be more lauded when he goes to foreign fields and makes these grandiose speeches about where Britain is in the world. Here, people really are not taking him that seriously.
I think the word revered is doing some heavy lifting.
Well, it's doing some very heavy lifting, yes. Perhaps it was used slightly ironically. But he's taken more seriously, put it like that. And you're right, Anne. It's an awful scene that he's returning to. I mean, you thought last week was bad. It started with Anas Sarwar, the Labour leader in Scotland, saying he must go. Then there were more revelations about Matthew Doyle, the press secretary who was promoted to the Lords, and the questions about his friendship with a man charged with child offences. So there are definitely more unexploded bombs in his path. And the stories keep coming out from different directions. You're saying the Telegraph is suggesting that John Healey, somebody who, unless you're in the Westminster bubble, as Mark has rightly accused me of being, many people will not have heard of.
Yes.
39% of people apparently know who he is in a recent poll.
And I'm sure he's a very fine man and all that, but he's hardly Mr. Charisma, is he?
No, and perhaps that will play in his favour. I mean, you remember in 1990, when Mrs Thatcher was stepping down, John Major was seen as the grey man, and that did play in his favour. Michael Heseltine was seen as, you know, he who wields the sword will never wear the crown. He was seen as the traitor, and the grey man came through the middle when no one was looking. So as Wes Streeting and Angela Rayner potentially fight it out, Healey might come through as a unity candidate because both Streeting and Rayner are divisive people. They have hacked off people on both sides of the party, so it's not a done deal for either of them.
But the gossip is also about Andy Burnham, who's apparently looking at a Liverpool seat and has been having meetings.
Yes, the Prince across the water. I mean, the fact that we have so many candidates does indicate the trouble that Starmer's in. However, I would say the fact that none of them is perceived to be credible. A recent poll showed that Starmer was more popular than Streeting as Prime Minister. It shows that, in a sense, he's lucky. If there was a Heseltine figure who people could coalesce around and rally round, he would be in severe difficulty. But the fact that there's a split vote between all these different candidates, I think, will keep him in place for the moment until the May local elections. Let's see what happens then.
Yes, exactly. That's going to be a very interesting time.
James, thank you so much. I think the problem with the grey man analogy is, in terms of John Healey, we already have a grey man.
Yes.
People are just desperate for a spark of something, some
something
kind of
exciting
personality
to believe in
their next leader, surely.
Kenneth McLean says, being Scottish, my favourite soup is Cullen skink.
Oh, yeah, no, that is very nice.
Now,
Is that haddock?
He said it's smoked haddock and potatoes and onion cooked in milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's very, very popular in Scotland, anyway, isn't it?
It's tasty.
OK, well, let's have a look at some of the other stories coming into the newsroom this morning.
Yeah, the nation's chief prosecutor has emphasised that nobody is above the law amid increasing calls for a comprehensive police investigation into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's connections with Jeffrey Epstein.
Prince William shares his state of agony after hearing of Princess Catherine's cancer diagnosis 2 years ago. Details on how the couple told their children will be revealed in a new biography.
Youth unemployment in Britain tops Europe for the first time. The Bank of England blames minimum wage increases, which they say are pricing young people out of work.
OK, it's cold. Catherine Chalk will tell you more.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After yesterday's sunshine, well, the rain has returned. It will clear the southeast later and then followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Icy stretches in places first thing though across Scotland and northern England. Otherwise to the south of that, an unsettled picture here, especially compared to Saturday. Outbreaks of rain could turn a little bit wintry across East Anglia. Behind that, it is a case of showers merging to give longer spells of rain across the country, perhaps mixed in with some hail and thunder. Highs of up to 10 or 11 degrees in the best of the sunshine across the southwest. So as we go through Sunday evening then, it's a wet end to the day across eastern parts of Scotland. Still, some of this falling as snow over the highest mountains. To the west of that, it is a case of clear spells and showers. That theme continues across Northern Ireland. A lot of cloud around, but also a few showers pushing their way in. And again, for much of England and Wales. And most of these will be falling as rain, especially more so across the northern parts of Wales compared to recent days. Otherwise, as we go through the night, most of the showers clear their way through, especially across the south and east. So largely dry here, but to the west, that's where we're just going to see rashes of showers pushing their way through as we start Monday morning. Otherwise, there is a fair amount of cloud around, but in between any lengthy clear skies, we could see a touch of frost to start Monday. Otherwise, as we go through Monday, it is a case of sunny spells, frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers in the north are still going to be falling wintry, especially over the hills, perhaps even merging to give longer spells of rain across Northern Ireland and more so into parts of Wales. Otherwise, there should be some sunshine in between and temperatures not doing too bad. We'll see highs of up to 9 or 10 degrees in the south. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Just a quick one in terms of soup, because you'll need it after that weather forecast. Angela Hughes, another great soup is kale soup with onions, ginger and garlic.
Well, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice and tasty on a cold day like today. Keep your soup recipes coming in, please. We ought to make a book.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. Or have a special page on the website. Anyway, do stay with us, 20 minutes past 6. As Alexei Navalny's cause of death is revealed, we'll be joined in a couple of moments by a Russian exile who'll be able to tell us more about what could have happened and why.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. If you've just joined us, yes, it is cold, isn't it? And we are talking soup, but also lots of things in the news. And very, very distressing news, wasn't it, when we heard yesterday that the Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, died in prison after being poisoned with a deadly toxin that's only found in Ecuadorian dart frogs.
Well, the UK and other allies have described the poisoning, which they claim could only have been carried out by Vladimir Putin's government, as a barbaric act.
Well, according to the TASS news agency, Moscow, of course, has dismissed the finding as a disinformation campaign.
Well, the political analyst and Russian exile Valery Morozov joins us now. Good morning to you. Thank you for speaking to us on GB News Breakfast this morning. Have you heard, and I know you're more than aware of the potential tactics of the Putin government, but have you heard of a dart frog's poison being used before?
No, sorry. I was happy enough not to hear about it.
It's extraordinary, is it? I mean, you say you haven't heard about it, and it's all, yeah, I mean, it sounds at first so bizarre, but apparently it is a terrible toxin. It's several hundred times more strong than morphine, but it's a horrible way to die, apparently. I mean, Moscow does use some very strange tactics sometimes, doesn't it?
No, yes, but I think, you should take into consideration that Navalny's death was, from my point of view, is more mysterious than it is described in mass media, including Russian or even Western. First, he was as it was, ill or poisoned, with Novichok in 2020. And he was taken to leave Russia, and he was taken to Germany for treatment. And after this, in 2021, he returned back to Russia. And it was really a surprise for me, for example, because at that time, it was strange and fake. It was clear that it was fake campaign, that Putin is sick or very ill, or some people were telling that he's dead already.
Yes.
And Navalny was brought to Russia and was convinced that he was coming to take over the power. And he was guaranteed by some very powerful group in the Kremlin that he would be safe and he would get the power. And when he came, it was a couple of months before the war started in Ukraine, he was arrested. And it was clear for me when I was so surprised to know that he was flying to Moscow, because it was clear that he would be arrested. And but nevertheless, somebody was behind this. You know,
who do you think was behind it?
You know, usually Russia and the Kremlin, it is described, and Putin's regime is described as very united, you know, and you know, under control of one person. But in reality, I worked in the Kremlin very closely with for more than 20 years. And I just, by the way, published electronic books, 2 electronic books on Amazon and Lulu. And one book is called Enter the Kremlin, and I described the period before Putin or a little bit after. And the second is the second book is called The Kremlin Guards. And there I tell the story how Putin came to power, but not only from my side, from my point of view, but also from the commanders of the secret services in the Kremlin, because I was a president at the time. We discussed this, and in Kremlin it is called sometimes, even in Russian mass media, sometimes it is called Kremlin Towers. That is different groups. You know, political groups inside Kremlin fighting for power, for influence, and all this. So one of these, the thing is that I was also involved or close to the decision of or process of taking the decision of who will be the leader of the opposition, of anti-corruption opposition. Because I was in the beginning of the anti-corruption wave campaign. It was me and my interview to the Sunday Times in 2010 about corruption on Sochi Olympic Games. So, and I know that how Navalny was selected, you know. And by the way, when he was proposing himself, you know, he told the phrase very strange at that time that take my head and crushed it into the Kremlin wall if you want. So I thought that the young guy is playing games, not serious. But actually, his life proved that it happened like this.
Yeah, I mean,
and,
clearly, the Kremlin doesn't like dissidents, and sooner or later they manage to get them somehow, don't they? We've got to leave it there, Valery. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And if we want to read your books, we know where to go and get them now.
Yeah, indeed.
OK, thanks very much. On that, at 6:30 exactly, it's time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, I'm Reverend Mike, a vicar in the Church of England. When life is tough and we're really hurting, comfort can be hard to come by. A well-meaning friend comes along and they advise well, they reassure us that everything's going to be okay. But if they've never been through the same hardship, we think to ourselves, we won't even say, but you've no idea what it feels like. But what of a friend who draws near, who's experienced the very hardship that we're facing, perhaps worse? That is a friend who can offer comfort. As we ready ourselves to enter Lent, we remember that Jesus is not only God with us, but God who knows what it is like. See, he hungered as we do. He felt loneliness, emotional flatness, grief, sorrow. He knows what it is like. And this, I think, is a very wonderful truth. Because it's one thing, isn't it, to pray to a God who's very powerful, who's able to help from afar. But it is quite another to lift our cares to one who knows what it's like, one who's walked in my shoes. That is the glory of Jesus. As the Bible says, he sympathizes with our weakness, and we can come to him for help in time of need.
Now, our soup conversation has really struck a nerve, I have to say. You're very engaged this morning on this. Gavin Palmer says, my favourite soup is leek and potato. That's, you know,
that's accepted.
Many people. But with pancetta, chicken stock, double cream, delicious and very warming.
Yeah.
It sounds very good.
Very rich. That would fill you up quickly, wouldn't it? Cream of cauliflower, says Mark. Cream of cauliflower and chilli soup.
Well, brilliant.
That's
a bit of a kick to it.
Exactly. Yeah, keep the soup ideas coming in. It's warming us up just thinking about it. Time now for the Great British Giveaway, though. Here's how to take part.
Make sure you don't miss the chance to grab an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all. Courtesy of Riviera Travel, there's a terrific £10,000 holiday for two to be won. Choose from over 30 worldwide destinations like Thailand, South Africa, New Zealand, or even Sri Lanka. And because they have over 40 years experience with handcrafted tours, you'll be safe in the knowledge that every step of the journey will be planned with you in mind. There's just 2 weeks left to enter, so don't miss out on this amazing holiday and £30,000 in tax-free cash. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, very good luck. How about, from Jeanette, morning Jeanette, Italian sausage, sun-dried tomato and tortellini soup.
Wow, that's exotic.
Very filling, she says. And then Karen says, celeriac and potato with a dash of cream and black pepper.
They're all good.
Really
They're all
nice.
really good ideas. Still to come on the show, Scotland have emerged victorious over England in the Calcutta Cup. Who knew?
Yeah, that's coming up next.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, Ben Leo from The Late Show Live on GB News. Do you remember when Billie Eilish said this at the Grammys?
No one is illegal on stolen land. Is all I want to say, sorry.
Well, Billie reckons there's no such thing as an illegal human because we're all on stolen land. So we're here in Billie's quite posh neighbourhood in Los Angeles. Let's go and see if she practiced what she preaches. Hopefully, if she sticks by her merits, she'll have no problem with me waltzing in, maybe making a cup of coffee or a tea. $3 million home. She's got some paddocks out the back with stables and horses. Maybe we can go for a horse ride. I'm sure she'd have no problem with it because she stood up on the stage at the Grammys, tens of thousands of people watching in the audience, millions around the world. The clip's gone viral. Here we go. Oh, nice little place. Bins are out. It's bin collection day. First of all, isn't that ironic? Massive gates keeping people out. I thought Billie didn't believe in borders. Well, according to the driveway, Billie does believe in borders. She believes in massive gates keeping people out. A couple of cameras up there as well. The lights are on, so somebody must be home. Let us in, please, Billie. We are here because this is stolen land, Billie, and we think we should be given access to your quite lovely $3 million mansion. And such is Billie's concern for security and privacy. It's surrounded by pretty decent security fencing. Very nice indeed. Massive security hedges as well. She's taken a lot of concern and time to make sure she's got some privacy, as you'd expect. Oh, there we go. At the $3 million Los Angeles pad of Billie Eilish, she reckons nobody's illegal because we're all on stolen land anyway, but when it comes to her own house here in LA, I think she's got different ideas.
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain. So he can say whatever he wants. A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
And now for the sport, here's the king of soup making, actually, Aidan McGee.
I thought you were going to say king of sport.
No, soup.
I'll take soup making, OK.
Absolutely.
Look, let's focus yesterday on Murrayfield, events at Murrayfield in the Six Nations, the Calcutta Cup as well. Scotland 31, England 20. You must be absolutely cock-a-hoop.
Just remind me, what was the score?
31-20 to Scotland.
31-20.
I think that
Who'd
actually...
have thought?
I think that actually betrays the story of the match. I think it wasn't as close as that. I think that actually that last try by England was quite academic. It didn't really affect the score. That would have made it, what, 31-13.
Yeah. But there were actually a few occasions where, you know, England were very far forward, within feet of scoring try, but they kept fumbling the ball on the line.
Good defence by Scotland, though, and the best teams do win at Murrayfield. England are not the best team right now.
If you look at some of the pictures we're showing at the moment, that's the game yesterday, yeah? I mean, doesn't it look bright and sunny?
No,
it must have been cold.
It was very cold. Speaking to friends of mine up in Edinburgh, it was really, really cold yesterday.
Well, look,
lots of soup being consumed.
We'll hear from the England coach, Steve Borthwick, in a moment. But, look, he laid down this challenge beforehand to win the Grand Slam, win all the matches in the Six Nations, and that's when the pressure ramps up. And we saw with Henry Arundel's 2 yellow cards yesterday, they knew what they were going to go into facing Scotland at Murrayfield. They knew the atmosphere, the cauldron of noise, the pressure, and I think they came up short, quite honestly. But here's what Steve Borthwick had to say yesterday after that defeat at Murrayfield.
Bitterly disappointed, and huge credit to the Scotland team, who I thought played really well today. They certainly got an advantage in those loose balls that came off that aerial contest, and from those loose balls they attacked real well, and clearly playing such a huge part of the game without a winger against a team that was moving the ball to that edge so much, that hurt us and ultimately gave us too much to do in the second half.
So that was Steve Borthwick there. I mean, look, you look at throughout the England side, you've got Ellis Genge, who's captain the side. You've got Jamie George, who was captain last week. Mario Itoje came back after suffering a bereavement with the death of his mother. So there were leaders in that team, but they came up short on the day. Yes, they've not lost since February last year when they were beaten by Ireland, but we'll know next game against Ireland how far they've come, because Ireland were better yesterday against Italy. Italy gave them a scare. That's what I like about rugby. The smaller teams tend to get better over time, don't they? In football, that doesn't happen. San Marino are perennially rubbish. They're always rubbish. They'll always be rubbish. In the rugby, they seem to get better. And we should mention, we mentioned Ireland yesterday, and Wales face France today.
Yeah.
So the Principality Stadium.
And look, there's always an issue with Scotland as well. They can absolutely raise the game when they're playing the old enemy.
Yes.
At Murrayfield in particular.
Well, Craig Chalmers said yesterday that they were better. They are better than what they showed against Italy, and that was proved out.
There's no doubt about that. But can they keep up the consistency when you're up against Wales next week, and then
interesting to see how they do against France.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've got the FA Cup to come later on. We've got Winter Olympics as well, of course.
Yeah, and just to guide you, the Winter Olympics there, it'd be very rare sometimes that a picture like this would make the cover of the Observer, the front page. But what a brilliant front page it is.
Can we hold it up?
Hold it up. Yeah, we've got it, yeah.
We've got it.
Now, what is going on there? That's the skeleton.
Yes, well, it was described yesterday. I mentioned it's downhill on your stomach on a tea tray. At 90 miles an hour, and that is a superb picture there. Not just the angle of it, but also it just shows in graphic detail, doesn't it? Exactly.
You can imagine the speed looking at that picture.
Yes, I know. There's nothing to offer any resistance on that track, is
But
there?
well done to the Observer as well. It's nice to have an unusual front page, isn't it?
It is.
And, says it all.
Britain are 15th in the medals table, which is not great. But we're going.
It's better than it was yesterday.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always that.
OK, we will move on. Thanks so much. Go off and make us some soup, please. You're the master. Do stay with us. Still to come, it looks like paddle is becoming more than a hobby for some. You'll hear more about that in the papers. We'll be looking through that with Duncan Barks and Emma Wolfe. First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, oh, yes, here's the forecast for where you might have to go.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast. If you're heading to Europe this half term, well, it's a mixed bag out there. Outbreaks of rain and some heavy showers and thunderstorms. Best of the sunshine, though, really confined to the Canary Islands and towards the south of Spain. Otherwise, outbreaks of rain across Portugal and northern Spain. Across the Mediterranean, that's where we're going to see areas of showers and thunderstorms pushing their way through. Otherwise, best of the sunshine really across the Canary Islands, highs of 25.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What we're going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel. Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless, and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Anne and Mark.
Well, let's take a look at some of the newspaper front pages now.
Well, the Sunday Times reports Labour activists paid for a smear campaign against journalists.
In the Sunday Mirror, that reveals Prince William's agony after hearing of his wife's cancer diagnosis 2 years ago.
The Independent headlines Putin's arch-rival, Navalny, was poisoned by the Kremlin.
And the Mail on Sunday reports there must be a probe into Prince Andrew.
The former Prince Andrew, yeah, when he was a trade envoy. Anyway, joining us to go through what's making the news, political commentator Duncan Barks and writer and journalist Emma Wolfe. And a very good morning. Lovely to see you. Right, royals are not above the law, says Chief Prosecutor. And that's the Sunday Times front page, Emma.
Yeah, we've had more revelations, more grubby, shocking, I don't know, are they shocking anymore? Are they unsurprising? I don't know. Anyway, more revelations about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It now appears that he may have leaked confidential reports on official trips to Southeast Asia and Afghanistan. Now, he was a trade envoy for the UK taxpayer-funded role to the UK, which is really quite a shocking thing to remember, from 2001 to 2011. So he had access during that decade to a lot of sensitive information. If we spin to the Mail on Sunday, which you also mentioned, they are saying there must now, their sort of headline is that there must be a probe into Envoy Andrew. They're claiming they have a new dossier of evidence that's been seen, that he may well have leaked sensitive information on the RBS bailout, on Aston Martin. At one point it was in real financial trouble, and all sorts is coming out now. But the Director of Public Prosecutions, Stephen Parkinson, on the front of the Sunday Times has been saying, you know, I have total confidence in my detectives. They will look into everything. No one is above the law, policing without fear or favour, and he's including the royal family in that. Thames Valley Police are under a lot of pressure to open an official investigation into this now.
Yeah, and we know that King Charles has said that the royal family will cooperate fully with any investigation that's going on. He has to say that. It's the right thing to do. I mean, I think, sadly, we're going to hear and see more and more of these as people still pick over the files and the various emails. I mean, what strikes me about some of the reports in the papers this morning is that he apparently, this is Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, shared his travel itinerary with Epstein, you know, which is a massive security breach in many, many ways. So we're starting to see this pattern emerge.
But it's a security breach to have women coming in and out of Buckingham Palace or the other royal palaces. You know, what did the bodyguards, what did the royal security protection officers know or not know?
Well, one of them at least is cooperating with Thames Valley,
when they were asked to turn a blind eye or not to have names or just to let people in. You know, this is all security.
Why did we give him the job in the first place? He wasn't a trained diplomat or whatever, was he? He's not a politician. Why did we think of giving him the job of being our trade envoy?
Well, we didn't, did we?
Who did?
Well, there are many questions now. I would even include the late Queen in this. I mean, was her judgment... I know we're not allowed to criticise the Queen, and we miss her, and she was a wonderful woman, but really, the judgment of so many people around Andrew who must either have turned a blind eye or thought that it didn't matter.
All gave the benefit of the doubt. You know, there is a narrative that exists that apparently she was, or he was, her favourite son.
Yes, it's always been said.
And what do you do with Andrew? You know, first in line, Charles was the, you know, next in line to the throne. What do you do with Andrew? Well, let's just give him an envoy job to give him some prestige and a bit of world travel. But it's clear that he couldn't be trusted with that role.
Well, ironically, it could be, you know, this envoy role that maybe is undoing. Much more difficult to try to establish what may have gone on behind closed doors in terms of some of the more salacious allegations against him. But when you've got a paper trail of emails, information that may have been shared with the likes of Jeffrey Epstein, I think that's why we heard from Thames Valley Police just a couple of days ago that they are now in discussions with the Crown Prosecution Service. When you get to that stage, you are at the point of either declaring a formal investigation or potentially even charges, Emma.
Yeah,
we clearly need it.
Absolutely. And I think that's why Stephen Parkinson, the DPP, has come out and said, in, you know, pretty transparent language, is saying nobody is above the law.
They're rolling the pitch, aren't they?
Yeah. Of course they are. And they're going to, you know, and they want to make it absolutely clear that they will investigate any and everyone if there are...
Because one of the emails released yesterday from Epstein to another wealthy industrialist, I think, somewhere abroad, said, well, I've got Mandelson, I've got Prince Andrew, that's the UK sewn up.
Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
Yeah. And it also makes you wonder whether or not there are similar relationships with different countries around the world. You know, did he have almost like this network? It's like, well, you know, if you come to me for advice or you want to pay me some money to do something in this particular country, I know these people who can get it done for you. As I say, I think more and more is going to come out as time goes on.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
how many other Epstein figures are out there that other people in high, prominent places are dealing with and leaking information on a daily basis?
And we've seen
we are so obsessed, of course, with Epstein because of the fact that he had been jailed, then subsequently died. Now that we've got all of the documentation, but there's lots of other people who are seeking influence all the time from the rich and the powerful and the connected.
And it's that pattern that we saw allegedly with Mandelson and exactly the same with Andrew. Men who really, really like wealth and the trappings of wealth, and to be flattered and to be invited, you know, all around the world. And, you know, Mark, you're absolutely right, because 3 million files already just come out again, that's a lot to go through. So there will be more.
Clearly, these are people who have no moral compass. I mean, by the sound of it, Prince Andrew, allegedly, the former Prince Andrew, doesn't seem to have any moral compass.
And you look back at the footage of, OK, of course, the Newsnight interview, but other documents with Mandelson saying, I have no recollection of this, and literally on the next screenshot, we are now seeing a deal for a property in Brazil or whatever it is, where someone has said, no, I never even did that, I never even said that, I never even went there. And it's a bare-faced lie.
Yeah, well, that's clearly how they've been behaving for years. We'll do this because we were mentioning it, I mentioned it earlier, the city big hitters who are walking away from their six-figure jobs to follow paddle.
Yeah, in some ways, this looks like a bit of a midlife crisis if you're a bit of a banker. There appear to be people who work in the city or in banking who are discovering the joys of paddle or padel, depending on your viewpoint.
Which is what? It's
a racket game.
Yes.
So it's like tennis.
It's like small tennis, or whatever
but
they
you
used
play
to call
it in
it.
a glass cage, you have a tennis ball, but if you imagine your racket doesn't have strings, so it's like a hard surface.
Yes, right.
And the court is a lot smaller. And apparently everyone's at it, to coin a phrase. They're giving up their lovely
and there you see it on the screen if you're watching on TV.
That's the difference between that and tennis. It's smaller.
Yes.
The rackets are different. And people are giving up their jobs in the city to follow this passion.
Well, it wouldn't make them any money, would it?
No, but I think...
they can afford to just play paddle all day.
A bit of a midlife crisis going on.
It does sound like that, doesn't it?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with padel. If it's just a small racket that doesn't have strings and it's a smaller court, is that ping pong? Is it like ping pong?
It's ping pong without a table.
Is it like ping pong but a bit of squash? Squash court, that size?
I don't play it. I don't know.
I don't know this thing.
Just a trendy affectation is what it is. Right, let's catch up with the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After yesterday's sunshine, well, the rain has returned. It will clear the southeast later and then followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Icy stretches in places first thing though across Scotland and northern England. Otherwise to the south of that, an unsettled picture here, especially compared to Saturday. Outbreaks of rain could turn a little bit wintry across East Anglia. Behind that, it is a case of showers merging to give longer spells of rain across the country, perhaps mixed in with some hail and thunder. Highs of up to 10 or 11 degrees in the best of the sunshine across the southwest. So as we go through Sunday evening then, it's a wet end to the day across eastern parts of Scotland. Still, some of this falling as snow over the highest mountains. To the west of that, it is a case of clear spells and showers. That theme continues across Northern Ireland, a lot of cloud around, but also a few showers pushing their way in, and again for much of England and Wales. And most of these will be falling as rain, especially more so across the northern parts of Wales compared to recent days. Otherwise, as we go through the night, most of the showers clear their way through, especially across the south and east. So largely dry here, but to the west, that's where we're just going to see rashes of showers pushing their way through as we start Monday morning. Otherwise, there is a fair amount of cloud around, but in between any lengthy clear skies, we could see a touch of frost to start Monday. Otherwise, as we go through Monday, it is a case of sunny spells, frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers in the north are still going to be falling wintry, especially over the hills, perhaps even merging to give longer spells of rain across Northern Ireland and more so into parts of Wales. Otherwise, there should be some sunshine in between and temperatures not doing too bad. We'll see highs of up to 9 or 10 degrees in the south. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Make sure you don't miss the chance to grab an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all. Courtesy of Riviera Travel, there's a terrific £10,000 holiday for two to be won. Choose from over 30 worldwide destinations like Thailand, South Africa, or even Sri Lanka. There's just 2 weeks left to enter. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
A very good morning to you. It's great to be with you. And it's 7 o'clock, so a very good morning. But maybe not for Sir Keir Starmer, because Labour rebels are conjuring up fresh plots to get him out of his job.
Yes, a GB News exclusive reveals Wes Streeting aims to beat Angela Rayner to the punch in a fast-moving race to topple the Prime Minister.
Yeah, and the starter's pistol hasn't even gone off yet. John Healey, meanwhile, is quietly being put forward as the unity candidate. But just how long, then, will the Prime Minister cling on?
Yes, well, the Prime Minister always more comfortable on the international stage. He had what will be seen as a good speech in Munich yesterday, but now he's back in London and back to trouble and people wanting his job.
The Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was killed by a lethal toxin under the orders of Vladimir Putin. That's according to the UK government. Navalny's wife Yulia spoke to Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper yesterday.
Now it's not just words, it's scientific proof that my husband Alexei Navalny was poisoned and killed by Russian government and by Vladimir Putin in Russian prison.
Police chiefs and ministers are demanding a probe into Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's role as UK trade envoy. That's amid fresh accusations, even more, of leaked secrets.
As Boots becomes the first high street giant to allow customers to buy weight loss jabs over the counter, we'll be debating, should we sell fat jabs on our high street?
And it's last orders for a 19-year-old pub landlord who's been forced, he says, to close the business because of financial pressures.
It was a night to forget for the officials at Villa Park after what Wayne Rooney described as one of the worst decisions he's ever seen. We'll be reflecting on that, as well as looking ahead to today's FA Cup action later this hour.
It's not quite as sunny out there compared to Saturday. There's further rain in the forecast. I will have all of the details coming up shortly.
Well, it's just gone 7 o'clock. Yes, it has. I checked. I'm Anne Diamond.
And I'm Mark White. This is GB News Breakfast.
Keep the soup recipes coming in, because actually some of you have got some great ideas.
Yeah, listen, I know that one or two of you feel that we should knock the soup on the head because there's lots of news out there, and there absolutely is. But, you know, it's a bit of light and shade. It's Sunday. Sometimes nice to think of nice warming things like a pan of soup.
Yeah. Well, we need it today, but I just don't understand why people would get upset. There's lots of news we cover, minutes and minutes and minutes of news, and often a lot of it bad. And the weather as well is cold, so that's what's got us talking about soup. But you've been giving a lesson on how to make soup to one of our viewers who said he's never made soup, but interested now.
And listen, we have obviously GB News resident soup expert,
Superman,
Ada McGee here as well. But yeah, one audience member was just asking, you know, they've been inspired by the soup talk. How do we make it? Should we get a kind of a soup mixer, a blender type thing?
Yeah, a blender certainly helps depending on the consistency of what you're trying to produce. But I did, back in 2022, funnily enough, get one of these big sort of casserole things, you know, electronic things, quite expensive. But I just find that you don't get the consistency you're looking for all the time, because some parts of the broth, I mean, maybe I didn't stir it well enough, but some parts were thick, other parts not so. And that's the danger when you mass-produce stuff, which I was trying to do. So I was thinking of going around on like a vehicle and selling it at one point. I did look into it as a business.
But I'm with Anne though in terms of soup that. You know, we like a bit of chunky vegetable or whatever.
Yes, but on a soup, I've got a soup maker, and you can choose whether it's going to be chunky or.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it actually then, if you choose smooth, after about 28 minutes of you can hear things cooking, it goes zzz, and then it comes out all creamy and. So would you go soup maker? Fancy. Or I mean, in the olden days, you would just always have a great cauldron on the stove, wouldn't you? And you just keep adding things to it, add leftovers to it.
My parents' one was brisket of beef.
Brisket.
So you get the juices from the meat, obviously, and it was quite, you know, unless you slow cooked it over a really long period of time, it wasn't particularly great meat. But once you sort of really let it sort of blend in and really sort of get the juices flowing out of it, it would create something really tender and a lovely soup broth, should we say.
Good, thank you very much. You've warmed us up. Cockles of our heart. And infuriated some of our audience.
Yeah, well, never mind. Can't please everyone.
Go drink some soup. Do you drink it or eat it?
I eat soup, yeah.
Yeah, you eat soup, OK. Right, let's move on then to the serious stuff. In a defiant message to The Sun on Sunday today, the Prime Minister says he's coming out fighting, vowing to lead Labour into the next election.
Well, it comes as Labour rebels are said to be quietly lining up John Healey, yes, you've heard that right, John Healey, as the so-called Unite candidate.
Now, a GB News exclusive also reveals that Wes Streeting is already plotting to beat Angela Rayner to the punch in a fast-moving race to topple the Prime Minister. GB News' chief political correspondent, Catherine Forster, joins us now from Munich, where she's been at the security conference over the weekend. So these politicians, I mean, Keir Starmer particularly, has to come back from treading on the world stage now to face more domestic problems at home.
Yes, it's really quite something when being at the Munich Security Conference with all the global instability, and the logo this year has been an elephant with bits missing, with the words "under destruction" written under it. We're told that we are in an era of wrecking ball politics, and yet it is easier for our Prime Minister to be here than to be at home because of the nightmare that he is facing with people plotting to get rid of him. Just quickly on Munich, Number 10 will see this as a very successful outing. He made his big speech yesterday, laid out his vision for being closer to Europe, because he says Europe must step up on defence. That's something that Donald Trump has made abundantly clear. We've pledged to spend 5% by 2035, although the timetable that the government has outlined, I would suggest, leaves a lot of gaps in that. And I think the rhetoric from the Prime Minister saying that we must be ready to fight, at the moment, I don't think the reality would quite match up to that. But nevertheless, transatlantic relations have been smooth. Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, was here taking a much more emollient tone than J.D. Vance, the US Vice President, did last year. Clearly, though, things still very difficult. We've got war in Europe, we've got a changeable US president, and we've got a US president who wants Greenland, which belongs to Denmark. Those conversations are still going on here. But the Prime Minister, talking about much closer relations with Europe, something we've known that he wants for a long time, but he's now saying because of the international situation, this is more important than ever. I think that will worry a lot of our viewers for what that might mean. For example, he's talked about building a joint European defence industry. But back home, meanwhile, Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, Angela Rayner, who was Deputy Prime Minister till she had to resign because she didn't pay £40,000 of stamp duty on her new flat in Hove. Just two of the people who we know really want his job, though they are being outwardly supportive. There is so much plotting going on behind the scenes. We don't know when they might try to take him out. So there was a big wobble a week ago when it looked like he might go. He's saying he will lead Labour into the next general election. I have to say, I can't remember talking to a Labour MP who actually believes that to be the case for months and months and months. And he would say that, wouldn't he? And also Labour are not good at getting rid of leaders. We don't know when people might move against him, but it could come as soon as the Gorton and Denton by-election. If that goes badly for Labour, as it well might, possibly Wes Streeting might move then. If not then likely after the May local elections, which are expected to be horrendous for Labour, English councils, but also up in Scotland and also in Wales.
John Healey. You know, he's a nice enough guy, but come on. I mean, he's like the school janitor.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's surprising, isn't it? He's currently the Defence Secretary, and actually, he's well thought of because he's very sort of steady and serious. And figures like Angela Rayner clearly would take the party to the left. A lot of people absolutely cannot stand Wes Streeting because they see him as being so ambitious. So this is the problem for people that want to get rid of the Prime Minister. Who is their best bet? There's absolutely no agreement on that, and I think that is one of the things that makes the Prime Minister safer than he would otherwise be, given his absolutely dire ratings in the polls.
OK, Catherine, we'll leave you there. Thanks very much indeed. Political commentator James Rampton is here with us now. It is interesting that Labour are running the risk of fragmenting completely now, depending on their next leader, or at least whoever they back during a leadership contest.
Absolutely. To continue the theme that we were deliciously talking about earlier, Starmer really is in the soup at the moment. He doesn't seem to be able to get out of it. But you're right, no voter likes to support a fractured party. We've known this for years, the infighting that's gone on in both parties, to be honest, over the years, both of the then main parties. And so if there is this rupture within the Labour Party between, and let's be honest, and any number of candidates seem to be emerging at the moment, as Mark so brilliantly put it, the school janitor John Healey, only known to 39% of voters. If you showed them a picture,
I would be surprised if 39% of
no, that's in his own family, I think. No,
he is an affable. He's a nice guy, and I think you know, he cares about the defence of the realm, you know, unlike the Prime Minister, who likes to talk about the need to invest, but actually doesn't follow through.
Yes, he sounds sincere,
I think he does, but, you know, no, he's another grey man.
He's a charisma bypass on legs, isn't he? And you're right. Do we need one grey man after another? And both the other leading candidates, Wes Streeting, Angela Rayner, and we mustn't forget Andy Burnham, both have shed loads more charisma, but they're all divisive figures in their own way. You know, Streeting released his WhatsApp exchanges with Lord Mandelson this week. Possibly a tactical mistake, because he was quite critical of Rachel Reeves, and many Labour MPs are saying, well, he's going to find it hard to rally people now. Angela Rayner is still the subject of an HMRC investigation, so she's not in the clear. Andy Burnham, lest we forget, is not even an MP. So there are...
Apparently is plotting on the next by-election to look
but
at.
he's making a lot of assumptions there, isn't he? You know, this King of the North PR that we're hearing.
That's what I'd also heard from some political commentators, saying he's too northern now to be a Prime Minister.
Golly.
Does that count against you? Surely not.
No, I think that's ridiculous, because...
I would have thought that would be a plus.
Yes,
now.
and the same with Angela Rayner. I think in some ways the cliché is that if you're northern, you're seen as more authentic. You're more in touch with your roots and so forth. So I think for many voters that would be a plus. I think the minus is that people like Burnham and Streeting are too openly plotting. Like Michael Heseltine in 1990, you can't be seen to be overtly campaigning against your leader, and that famous phrase, you know, he who wields the knife never wears the crown. If you're the one who defenestrates the Prime Minister, you're very, very unlikely to replace him or her. So I think Streeting, Burnham and Rayner all suffer from that they're, you know, Rayner apparently set up a website called Angela for Leader, which was quickly taken down last month, but they're too openly plotting, and that counts in Starmer's favour. As long as there's no credible single candidate to replace him, he's not going to be challenged. And indeed, a recent poll said he would be more popular as PM than Streeting, who's seen as I say, too divisive a figure.
Gosh, it's fascinating to see what sort of Labour government we're going to have in a few weeks' time, isn't it?
Julius Caesar has nothing on this, I tell you.
No, clearly.
The number of senators lining up to stab him in the back.
It must be a terrible stress on everybody, frankly, working inside Number 10.
Yes, and 3 major figures left in the last week. I think people, understandably, within politics, within the, you know, politicosphere, the Westminster bubble, as Mark quite rightly puts it, are always vying for power. They're always aspiring to work at Number 10. But goodness me, when you get there, it is an incredibly hard job. We saw that with repeated several Tory PMs. We're seeing that now with Starmer. He's running through more managers than Nottingham Forest at the moment, and it really is a difficult job. Sue Gray left after a few weeks, and now Morgan McSweeney has left, the Chief of Staff. So, you know, you wouldn't wish that job on your worst enemy in a way.
But let's not feel too sorry for them, James. A £260,000 payoff.
Yeah, I don't think everybody gets that, do they? Maybe.
Yeah. Certainly you don't if you're working in Sainsbury's or Tesco.
No, so, that's very true.
We don't want to shed 2,060,000 tears for them, do we?
No, no. Shall we have a look now at some of the other stories coming into the newsroom this morning? And the nation's chief prosecutor has emphasised that nobody is above the law amid increasing calls for a comprehensive police investigation into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's connections with Jeffrey Epstein.
Prince William shares his state of agony after hearing of Princess Kate's cancer diagnosis 2 years ago. Details on how the couple told their children will be revealed in a new tell-all biography.
And youth unemployment in Britain has topped Europe for the first time. The Bank of England blames minimum wage increases, which they say are pricing young people out of work. Let's find out about the weather now with Catherine.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After yesterday's sunshine, well, the rain has returned. It will clear the southeast later and then followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Icy stretches in places first thing though across Scotland and northern England. Otherwise to the south of that, an unsettled picture here, especially compared to Saturday. Outbreaks of rain could turn a little bit wintry across East Anglia. Behind that, it is a case of showers merging to give longer spells of rain across the country, perhaps mixed in with some hail and thunder. Highs of up to 10 or 11 degrees in the best of the sunshine across the southwest. So as we go through Sunday evening then, it's a wet end to the day across eastern parts of Scotland. Still, some of this falling as snow over the highest mountains. To the west of that, it is a case of clear spells and showers. That theme continues across Northern Ireland, a lot of cloud around, but also a few showers pushing their way in, and again, for much of England and Wales. And most of these will be falling as rain, especially more so across the northern parts of Wales compared to recent days. Otherwise, as we go through the night, most of the showers clear their way through, especially across the south and east. So largely dry here, but to the west, that's where we're just going to see rashes of showers pushing their way through as we start Monday morning. Otherwise, there is a fair amount of cloud around, but in between any lengthy clear skies, we could see a touch of frost to start Monday. Otherwise, as we go through Monday, it is a case of sunny spells, frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers in the north are still going to be falling wintry, especially over the hills, perhaps even merging to give longer spells of rain across Northern Ireland and more so into parts of Wales. Otherwise, there should be some sunshine in between and temperatures not doing too bad. We'll see highs of up to 9 or 10 degrees in the south. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, now it's that time. I know you've all been looking forward to it. The Great British Giveaway. Yes. Not just £10,000 for a holiday, no, £30,000 cash as well. Here's Hayley Sparks.
There's only 2 weeks remaining to see how you could win a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, we could be sorting out your summer with an incredible holiday for two worth £10,000, courtesy of Riviera Travel. You'll get to choose from 47 tours in over 30 worldwide destinations. And with return flights, transfers and luxury hand-picked accommodation, you'll find yourself in Costa Rica, Japan or even Canada. Make sure you secure your place in the draw to win £30,000 cash and a luxury holiday. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19, PO Box 8690, Derby, DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes are closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck. That would be very nice to win, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the sharp-eared amongst us would probably have noticed that wasn't Hayley Sparks with a frog in her throat. That was voiceover man.
I saw her there, though. She was...
Yes, she was there. She was.
Now we're going to be talking about weight loss jabs in a moment, because I know this took me by surprise, because I thought you either had to go to the doctor or on the internet somewhere, but they're going to become accessible over the counter in boots. So we're going to be debating, is that right? Should fat jabs be sold on the high street? That's next.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I will show on-day release from the Stormtrooper factory in Drusillas Park in the south of England. And can you guess who I'm here to see? No, it's not this old grey grizzly chap. In fact, regular viewers of the show will know that I am Britain's biggest beaver lover. And it turns out I'm not the only one. Yes, a new rewilding campaign has been launched, and up and down the country, people are coming out to support it. So I'm here to find out more. Mark, are you the beaver expert here at Drusillas?
I guess I could be. I'm the zoo manager, so I'm the most senior figure in the zoo. I've been working in zoos for over 34 years. So my responsibility is the management and the welfare of the plus 800, 900 animals that we have in the park.
All right, well, that's a lot of animals, but tell me, please, about your beaver.
So the beavers are particularly special. We have had beavers in the collection for 35, 40 plus years. They're hugely popular with our visitors. They're hugely popular within our industry. Professionals alike like to come to Drusillas to see the beavers.
Very exciting. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, 7:24. Fat jabs. It's amazing how expensive they are if you buy them. If you get them off the doctor, you have to be a certain BMI, don't you? But if you buy them, it's very expensive. And now it looks like you can buy them from high street chemist like Boots.
Yeah, Boots has just launched an in-store service giving customers access to weight loss jabs across 17 locations in London, Manchester and Edinburgh.
And I've just been on the Boots website. You can buy them online too, from Boots.
Yeah.
Isn't that astonishing? Somehow. This morning we're asking if there should be access like this to medication on the high street. Joining us now, body positivity influencer George Keywood and NHS GP David Lloyd. OK, let's go to David first. David, what do you think what is your view on this, and what are the dangers to us ordinary consumers?
Goy, it's an incredibly complicated question, and I'll try and condense it. The first thing to say, the science is very impressive. If you treat two people with Ozempic or Mounjaro, one of them will lose 20% of their body weight, which is a fantastic scientific number compared to the sorts of diseases I treat. So it's a highly effective treatment, but it's a highly effective treatment for a chronic disease. If you stop them, you put on weight again. If you take it 1 month and then you take it the other, you risk yo-yoing. So you have to ask yourself, is this the sort of condition you want to treat on the high street? Or do you want to treat it like another chronic disease like hypertension or diabetes, which it should do, because obesity is a chronic disease.
That's a point, isn't it, George? We don't want to encourage, surely, people just going down, you know, the sort of the body beautiful, you know, sort of journey down to the likes of Boots or whatever, who just want the jab so they can look gorgeous on the beach. This has got to be for chronic and morbidly obese people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it being available in Boots would be a better option, actually, because then you could physically see face to face that that person is overweight or obese, and you could justify giving them the prescription. Because I think the main issue that we're seeing now is there's a lot of people, you know, that are getting it from the black market, and they're buying drugs that necessarily aren't the correct drug, and they're causing themselves serious health issues. So I think in some respect this could be a good thing, because you could see who you're giving the drug to, and I think that would sort of, you know, get rid of a lot of negativities that come along with the black market side of things, because there is a lot of women in particular that are sourcing these drugs in an unauthentic way, basically.
Yeah, David, it's not just women either, is it?
No.
No, but the sex ratio is quite wide. And your other speaker, I think, is making a good point that we want to avoid people using the wrong drugs. But the way that these drugs are being marketed, and the article you asked us to quote on feels like one enormous advert for Boots, is that it is widening inequality. The obesity preferentially attacks people who can't afford good food, and then you're asking people to pay £300 a month on top of that. So it is a major deal, and it is a dilemma that, you know, all governments are going to have to face up to. There are a lot of people who need this drug who should get it on the NHS, but it is going to bankrupt the NHS if we give weight loss drugs at £300 a month to 15 million people. But it is an amazingly successful drug.
And isn't that the truth of it, George? It's never going to be actually someone who's morbidly obese, but at the other end of the sort of poverty scale, it's going to be those who do want that body beautiful and can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the pharmaceutical companies are the issue here. I mean, they're the people that price these drugs. They're the people that recently put up the drugs when they knew that the NHS was interested in rolling it out. They're deliberately manipulating the market and making it more expensive because they know that the likes of the NHS are willing and will pay out that type of money. And that is the sole issue here, is that pharmaceutical companies are exploiting people in a hard time, you know?
Certainly is very expensive. David, I've got a friend who has been on Mounjaro, I think, for quite some time, because he was morbidly obese and is really successfully losing weight. But he's doing it with an NHS GP looking after him, making sure his diet, for instance, is healthy. Because if you're eating so much, dramatically so much less, surely you've got to make sure that what you are eating is good for you.
Absolutely, it's just like any other chronic disease. It's multifactorial. You've got lots of things to control. It's not just about taking the jab. But you're right. It is the most, apart from Viagra, it's the most efficient drug I can prescribe.
Gosh.
But David, you know, what about the potential side effects? And I know we've got to weigh it up against what the consequences are of being and continuing to be morbidly obese. But do we know enough about the long-term health implications?
I think you're making a good point. The muscle loss is a concern. So as well as losing fat, you're going to lose muscle, and that's jolly difficult to put on again if you do it too fast. Yeah. As you say, we don't know about the long-term effects, but staggeringly, every month a new research trial comes on which says, yes, it's good for this and good for that. I think the next big leap is the research that says it stops you being a drug addict and it stops you drinking alcohol and gambling.
God, not in the case of some people I know who are on it. It's interestingly, David, you just mentioned Viagra there. These drugs are often brought onto the market or given to patients for one condition, and then later on we find that actually it's very effective in another way. And Viagra, I just read something yesterday about the fact that there could be some sort of beneficial aspect to Viagra in combating cancer for men.
You've read more than I have.
Yeah, prostate cancer.
I'm afraid I didn't know that one, but we use daily Viagra for treating prostatic symptoms. We know that works.
Yeah, well, it's all about blood flow, I suppose, isn't it? Anyway, we'll leave it there. That's our medical moment. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. George Keywood there and David Lloyd.
Thank you both.
Right, sport coming up. Yeah, sport coming up next. It's been a busy day in the FA Cup. 5 matches are set to take place throughout the day today. Aidan will tell us all about it in a couple of moments.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, 7:34. Time for the sport. Here's Aidan.
One place to start just for this hour, and that is the FA Cup. Plenty of stories around yesterday. We got to the FA Cup fourth round. Of course, we saw some lower league sides as well. I want to start at Aston Villa just because it was an error-strewn performance by the officials. And now, what's interesting here, Anne, is that we don't see VAR in the FA Cup until the fifth round. So for the third round and fourth round, yes, we quite like it.
They can just get on with the football.
Well, yeah, we can. We don't have these people. The reason people don't like VAR is because you get all the waiting on the pitch, don't you? I mean, I remember being at a game at Tottenham a few years ago, and everyone was saying on TV, "Oh, what great fun that was! You had all these VAR interventions." Yeah. And I'm saying, well, you see replays in the studio when you're at home watching TV. You've got other stuff going in and occupying your sort of space, your headspace, if you like, or your attention. Whereas if you're in the ground, you don't see that kind of stuff. You're just waiting for six minutes. And
yeah, that's what's wrong. It's the length of time it takes.
And I had someone next to me ask me where I was going on holiday.
And why don't they show it on the video screens in the ground?
They do now. They do now. They're working towards that, but it doesn't paint the officials in the best light. Now, what we saw yesterday, apart from anything else, it takes up too much of our time in terms of coverage as well. It's too much of a talking point. But what we saw yesterday was what life would be like without VAR, and the officials, in this case, Chris Kavanagh, he put in a lamentable performance, it must be said. And I want to be as conciliatory and as responsible as I can when it comes to referees, because it is a really, really difficult job. But yesterday, I mean, Wayne Rooney said that one of the decisions, I won't go through each one because there were so many, but he said one of them was the worst decision he's ever seen. Wayne Rooney isn't really given to big grandiose statements, controversial statements like that. His life has been spent trying to stay out of the limelight as much as he possibly can for obvious reasons. Alan Shearer followed it up with a similar kind of remark. Both managers were, again, reflecting on... They were trying to be diplomatic, but they were saying that wasn't good enough from the officials. And the problem now, Anne, is that we've had VAR since 2019. So there are generations of referees coming through, the newer ones, who've only really known it. Chris Kavanagh was refereeing before that, but I just think that, put yourself in their position, you're on the pitch, and referees don't criticise VAR, but I think they rely on it too much. They know that if they get something wrong...
It's become a bit of a crutch for them.
Yes, it has, and so you're relying on someone else, or not relying, but you know that someone in the background using a video screen can review your decision and overturn it. Nobody really criticises the referee for that because they think, well, it's a quick game, he maybe just missed it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was a turn back in time yesterday, and VAR came out of it very well because there were so many decisions which, had they gone to VAR review, would have produced a different outcome. But nonetheless, Newcastle won by 3-1 at Aston Villa, so they're through to the FA Cup 5th round. I want to focus on events at Burnley as well, at Turf Moor, because Mansfield Town of League One, 13th in League One. Yeah. They're through. They've recorded a fantastic win at the Premier League side. They are managed, Mansfield Town, this is, by Nigel Clough, whose father, Brian Clough, famously never won the FA Cup. Now,
I didn't know that. That seems incredible because he was such a famous name.
I mean, he got back-to-back European Cups. He won the league title with Derby County in 74 and with Nottingham Forest later on as well. For the first time they came out of the division, from the division below. They got to the semi-finals of the FA Cup in 88, 89. The Hillsborough disaster, we all remember that when it was replayed at Old Trafford. They lost the game. 1990, they were famously went out in the third round in the game that saved Sir Alex Ferguson's career. And, of course, 1991, only 2 years off from retirement, he got to the final, and having taken the lead with a Stuart Pearce free kick, they lost 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspur, Terry Venables' Tottenham Hotspur. But, again, that game's remembered for Paul Gascoigne's injury, which effectively...
Gosh, you've mentioned so many famous names just in the last sentence.
That's how football was, and there was no VAR back then either. But it was famously the cup that eluded him. And you knew Brian Clough, didn't you?
Well, yes, certainly. I used to work at ATV in Birmingham in the Midlands, which was the television station regionally, and he was in all the time.
Yeah.
Because
he loved the TV studio.
Sports newsroom was at the end of the main newsroom, so he had to walk past us to get there, and everybody would go, Cloughie, Cloughie.
Well, I think he was great friends with Gary Newborn, wasn't he?
Very much so, who was the head of the department.
But it's interesting because I watched a film the other day, it was from 2009, The Damned United. It was about his 44-day spell at Leeds United back in the 70s. And he was played by Michael Sheen, who played him fantastically, it must be said. But, yeah, what a personality. But you mentioned the TV studios there. The Derby chairman, which was his first major successful club, he said, oh, I trust you're going to leave us again, Brian, are you? And go down and see some of your TV mates in the studios in London. He loved turning up on Parkinson. He loved any chance to get
that's right, he did. He was a character.
In fact, Muhammad Ali came to England one time and said, I've heard about this guy, Brian Clough, talking too much about me, and he said, Clough, I've had enough. And then Brian Clough was asked by his family in the film, well, what are you going to do, Brian? He goes, I'm going to fight him.
They're real characters they were, though.
They were. So that's Nigel, his son. He's a much more reserved character, very much in the shadow of his father, but equally effective.
Not now.
But no, not
he's
at all.
Doing well on his own.
He's not a young manager, but he did well yesterday. Fair play to him. And you have to say for Burnley losing that game at home, there are going to be problems ahead for Scott Parker, I would think, because they're languishing in the Premier League as well.
Can we talk a bit of Olympics next time we see you?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got lots of stuff to go through.
There's such a lot coming out.
There is. A slight improvement in the medals table as well. 15th Britain GB currently.
Aidan, thank you very much indeed. We'll move on now. Still to come, should film directors stick with the original narrative when it comes to casting the next James Bond?
You'll hear more on that in the papers with Duncan Barks and Emma Wolfe. That's a bit later after the break. Now you should...
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're heading to Europe this half-term, well, it's a mixed bag out there. Outbreaks of rain and some heavy showers and thunderstorms. Best of the sunshine, though, really confined to the Canary Islands and towards the south of Spain. Otherwise, outbreaks of rain across Portugal and northern Spain. Across the Mediterranean, that's where we're going to see areas of showers and thunderstorms pushing their way through. Otherwise, best of the sunshine really across the Canary Islands, highs of 25.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
It does feel like a bit of a bonus Olympics, you know. I didn't necessarily believe I'd be still competing at 39, but obviously still able to do it. So looking forward to going into my last games, my 5th one, and give it my all once more for our nation.
What is it feels it more than anything else? I mean, imagine when I watch slalom, I'm thinking of the knees. Is that the thing? Because especially being the age or as young as you are, is that the thing that usually goes? Because everything looks pretty good at the moment, Dave.
No, I think it's more my hairline than anything. You know, the stress
is it the worry? Is that what it is?
On the old scalp. No, very fortunate that my body's really good. Sit here with no pain, so that's why I can still do it. That's why I can still train hard. And yeah, the mental side of it's tough, being away from the family, but otherwise, all good.
It's a real, I would imagine, this is as someone who's dabbled in ski. I love watching ski. Me and Eamon have spoken about it, from watching Ski Sunday with David Vine back in the day, and I remember Ingemar Stenmark, etc., doing the slalom. It's a very technical event, I would imagine. It's not like the downhill where you just fly down. It's both. You've got to cover both. So the adrenaline, I guess, can help, but being technical, you've got to be thinking the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. And what people sometimes don't understand is we don't get to practice the course before. We have half an hour to inspect. No, we have half an hour to inspect 75 gates. We have to memorize all the terrain, all the different obstacles along the way. And then we have to race it full gas from the first time we push out the gate. So it's very mentally demanding. And I call it the intensity of focus. That has to be absolutely on point.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Anne and Mark.
Time to take a look at what the front pages of the newspapers are showing this morning.
Well, the Sunday Times says Labour activists have paid for a smear campaign against journalists.
The Sunday Mirror reveals Prince William's agony after hearing of his wife's cancer diagnosis 2 years ago.
Well, the Independent headlines, Putin's arch-rival Navalny was poisoned by the Kremlin.
The Mail on Sunday is reporting there must be a probe into Envoy Andrew.
Joining us to go through what's making the news, Duncan Barks and Emma Wolfe, who we think should actually be a dynamic duo of detectives, Barks and Wolfe.
An ITV detective drama set in the 70s, probably in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, very
An elegant beauty and a hard-bitten man heading towards a midlife crisis.
Oh, is that right?
That's what it feels like.
Sorry about that. Right, what are we going to go for? Tell us what the Green Party is up to.
Yeah.
Because they're being talked about more and more, especially with a view to maybe there could be a coalition in the future to fight in a general election between the Lib Dems, the Greens, and factions of the Labour Party.
Shudder. So, there's much to pick over here. The Telegraph have a leaked document of some of the motions that may make it into the spring conference for the Green Party in a few months' time. So this is not hard and fast policy yet, but it's members who are saying, we'd quite like you to debate and vote on this. And it makes quite disturbing reading, and I think most GB News viewers and listeners will agree. So I'll just give a brief summary here. There's a motion put forward in the document seen by the Telegraph, signed by 300 supporters, calling for Zionism feminism to be, quote, treated as any other form of racism. There's also a motion titled New Crime and Justice Policy that would say the Green Party would drastically shift investment in our police and prisons into things like housing and health support. Their argument is it prevents people from committing crime. And also there's a motion in here about giving up nuclear weapons as well and coming out of NATO.
Yeah, because it's not as if the police and the prison service is underfunded, is it? It's got plenty of money to play with.
It's not as though we have a prisons overcrowding crisis or a policing crisis or
a knife crime epidemic.
Or record high levels of rapes not being investigated and charged. I mean, this stuff from Zach Polanski, I know their potential, I know their possible ideas. I saw him tweeting, you know, in the last few days on X about, you know, dating, and you're more likely, green voters are more likely to date each other and like each other for this, that and the other. It's like, focus on the job, get some decent policies in place and stop being bonkers.
Stop being bonkers. And this is the problem, because he can pretty much say what he wants to say. His party can pretty much roll out some of these, to be blunt, nut job ideas. They might make it into a coalition in the future, who knows? There are quite a few disenfranchised and fed-up Labour voters who might find themselves going, do you know what, I might give a nod towards Zach and his band of merry people. But if you look at this, their weak spot, and this has been borne out in interviews across the media, when it comes to saying to Zach, how are you going to pay for this? The bloke can't give you an answer. The understanding of the economy, I mean, literally is at primary school level. Don't want to upset any primary school viewers. But it is like that. So it's very easy if you're a smaller party, some might say a party that's on a not an extreme, but on a further part of the political spectrum, to go, well, we would do this, we would do that. And if you look at an electorate who are a bit fed up with life, this guy is providing really easy answers, isn't he? Well, what we'll do is we'll give up the nuclear weapons and we'll put the money in here and we'll reduce police funding because it's all down to the fact that education's not good enough. And for some people who are a little bit disconnected with the political scene, this actually goes, oh, do you know what? This could actually work.
Well, and also they traditionally get protest votes, don't they? People who are just fed up with, you know, traditional politicians. And you can understand that feeling too.
Yeah, and I think, and as a very environmentally conscious person, I also think there are genuinely people who care about the environment, who care about the planet, who care about what the Green Party are talking about. But this Green Party, under this leader, they've moved away. That's what I mean. You know, traditionally the Green Party was people who, you know, knitted their own muesli and all the stuff that I do in cycling and all of that. But actually, this stuff is not even green.
But it has shifted. There used to be a great leader, Caroline Lucas, who was MP for Brighton for many years, who was what I would call a typical dyed-in-the-wool Green Party politician. The environment came first. This modern-day version of the Green Party, or today's version of the Green Party, is a very different, and some would say quite worrying and
quite radical. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, shall we move on to the Home Office? Another issue that is definitely going to get our audience rather exercised this morning. £1.9 million is how much we're paying for migrant tents now, apparently.
Yeah, so this is a story in the Sun newspaper this morning, and it's been revealed that migrants in Manston, down in Kent, which was the former kind of the airport there, which is used to house migrants temporarily, we discover that 1.9 million quid has been spent on marquees. What is interesting about this story is this particular line: the Home Office has now decided to buy them as it will be cheaper, as opposed to renting them from a marquee company in Merseyside. And whenever I see these stories, I'm like, why weren't you buying them in the first place if you knew it was cheaper? Because ultimately, it's not government money, it's not Home Office money, it's our money, it's taxpayers' money, it's everyone watching and listening to GB News. We fork out for this, and it's like you should be always looking for the cheaper option. Whether or not you think it's right to put migrants in a marquee is an entirely different issue. But there is a taxpayer issue.
Also, I'm getting serious, like, vibes of water cannon. How much did Boris spend on water cannon that were, I think, used once or twice? How many millions was that, Mark?
Oh, many millions.
Many millions of that. Were they ever used?
Yeah,
Theresa May got rid of them, sold them on to someone else, probably, you know, a bit like on eBay. You buy something new and then you have to sell it for about 10 pence. Where did the water cannon go? How much did we get for them? And they were never used.
No.
Can I just read out, if I can, the right of reply for the Green Party? You better.
Yep. The Green Party has said this currently is not policy. It's a proposed motion. We always have more motions from members than conference has time to debate.
And then the Home Office spokesman has said every purchase, this is of the tents, is always made to ensure the best value for money for the taxpayer. Well, at least they kept it short.
Yeah, sorry, but...
How much? Oh, yeah, we've got time. What I was going to say, what about casting you as 007? Or anyone as 007?
Oh, yeah.
Emma?
So this is Mariam Dabo. How do I pronounce
Mariam
it?
Dabo.
Mariam Dabo. Yeah. So she played a Bond girl, or the Bond girl actually, in The Living Daylights, 1987. Very beautiful. She has been talking about Ian Fleming. She was asked, should the next James Bond be a black actor? And I like what she said. She said, if she thought a black actor should be cast, she said, then don't call it Bond. Call it something else. You can have a wonderful black hero, but then don't call him James Bond. And she's just making the point that we should stick accurately to Ian Fleming's books, and there's plenty of scope for fantastic, and we have fantastic black actors and black leads and black heroes, but why call it Bond when we know that Bond worked for, you know, he worked for the...
Well, he was named in intelligence, wasn't he?
Yeah, Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
He was born in England, that he was a white man, and that he was a white hero.
I've read a few of the Ian Fleming 007 books because I'm quite like what I call traditional Bond, and it's very clear, without wanting to upset anyone, the character that he created is a white bloke.
Yeah.
You know,
If you want to make a movie about with a black actor as the hero lead or whatever, then
anyway,
call it something else.
we love your series, Barks and Wolf. We're going to tune into that. We should say that Charlotte Lewis has written as well, talking about, you know, surnames. Anne Diamond and Mark White reminds me of a strong cider, which I used to get very drunk on.
I did too.
Sitting in a park on a
Diamond
bench.
White.
Diamond White.
Diamond White.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, well, there you go. Right, we'll see you again in the next hour. Right now, yeah, here's the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After yesterday's sunshine, well, the rain has returned. It will clear the southeast later and then followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Icy stretches in places first thing though across Scotland and northern England. Otherwise to the south of that, an unsettled picture here, especially compared to Saturday. Outbreaks of rain could turn a little bit wintry across East Anglia. Behind that, it is a case of showers merging to give longer spells of rain across the country, perhaps mixed in with some hail and thunder. Highs of up to 10 or 11 degrees in the best of the sunshine across the southwest. So as we go through Sunday evening then, it's a wet end to the day across eastern parts of Scotland. Still, some of this falling as snow over the highest mountains. To the west of that, it is a case of clear spells and showers. That theme continues across Northern Ireland, a lot of cloud around, but also a few showers pushing their way in, and again for much of England and Wales. And most of these will be falling as rain, especially more so across the northern parts of Wales compared to recent days. Otherwise, as we go through the night, most of the showers clear their way through, especially across the south and east. So largely dry here, but to the west, that's where we're just going to see rashes of showers pushing their way through as we start Monday morning. Otherwise, there is a fair amount of cloud around, but in between any lengthy clear skies, we could see a touch of frost to start Monday. Otherwise, as we go through Monday, it is a case of sunny spells, frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers in the north are still going to be falling wintry, especially over the hills, perhaps even merging to give longer spells of rain across Northern Ireland and more so into parts of Wales. Otherwise, there should be some sunshine in between and temperatures not doing too bad. We'll see highs of up to 9 or 10 degrees in the south. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Des
There's only 2 weeks remaining to see how you could win a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, we could be sorting out your summer with an incredible holiday for two worth £10,000, courtesy of Riviera Travel. You'll get to choose from 47 tours in over 30 worldwide destinations. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Good morning. Another blow to Sir Keir Starmer as Labour rebels conjure up fresh plots to get him out.
A GB News exclusive reveals West Streeting aims to beat Angela Rayner to the punch in a fast-moving race to topple the Prime Minister.
Meanwhile, John Healey is quietly being put forward as the Unity candidate. But just how long will the Prime Minister cling on to his job?
Also in the programme, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was killed by a lethal toxin under the orders of Vladimir Putin. That's according to the UK government. Navalny's wife Yulia spoke to the Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper yesterday.
Now it's not just words, it's scientific proof that my husband Alexei Navalny was poisoned and killed by Russian government and by Vladimir Putin and Russian prison.
Police chiefs and ministers are demanding a probe into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's role as UK trade envoy. That's amid fresh accusations of leaked secrets.
Last orders for a 19-year-old pub landlord who's been forced to close the business due to financial pressures.
Not good enough. That was the damning verdict of England coach Steve Borthwick as the Three Lions were humbled by Scotland, who reclaimed the Calcutta Cup at Murrayfield. Elsewhere, it was a mixed day for Team GB at the Winter Olympics, and it was a bad night for officials in the FA Cup.
It's not quite as sunny out there compared to Saturday. There's further rain in the forecast. I will have all of the details coming up shortly.
Well, it's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Anne Diamond.
And I'm Mark White. This is GB News Breakfast.
We were talking about the controversy about whenever they think of casting a new James Bond, whether he should be white, whether he should be a he, whether he should be black or something like that. It's the only figure in sort of popular literature, I suppose, where this debate happens every single time they're going to make a new Bond.
I know, but it's a franchise, isn't it? So the franchise has to keep moving, so you have to keep people talking about it. When does James Bond ever actually change? The actual profile doesn't change very often.
Well, so far,
if ever.
certainly there's pressure.
But this, this conversation was happening 20, 30 years
Yes, it happens every time.
And it's just to generate talk.
OK, except if you look at Doctor Who, the same conversations were around that.
And it did happen.
And then they did move towards having, the female characters.
But Bond is an international franchise. I think they would have to think very seriously.
It's amazing how important it is to everybody, actually. Yeah. In fact, Richie has got in touch saying, I think Ian Fleming should have put a clause in to stop people twisting his characters. And apparently, he didn't even want Sean Connery playing Bond at first. And I always find it interesting, if you watch Sean Connery's career, every part he's ever played, and I think he's absolutely brilliant, he always plays the Scot, doesn't he? Apparently, when he was even in... what's the submarine?
The Hunt for Red October.
The Hunt for Red October, which I think is a brilliant movie.
1989.
He was a Russian submarine commander, but he was still a Scot.
Yes.
He spoke with a very broad Scottish accent, did absolutely everything he did.
Who played James Bond in The Living Daylights, 1987?
87.
What's
it? He only was on... Timothy Dalton,
correct.
wasn't it?
Yes.
Correct. It was a song by Aha, wasn't it? Living Daylights.
Yes,
that's number one, I think, in the hit parade.
And he was lauded, actually, for being really quite good, but he only lasted once.
George Lazenby did one, didn't he?
Yeah.
I presented the premiere of the 1987 one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where was that?
With Nick Owen. We were... it was in Leicester Square in London.
Oh, right.
But, you do the presentation thing and it's on Thames Television or something, I don't know.
Timothy, did you meet him?
Yeah, so you were in the line-up, and I think the Queen or... It was either the Queen or it was the Prince and Princess of Wales, as they were then, who went along, and it was lovely glitzy.
It was the Aston Martin era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very much so.
So, as one of our audience pointed out a little time on the Bond debate, it's only ever with the Bond franchise that we get this talk. They said you would never, for instance, consider making Shaft a white man in the various Shaft trilogy. I think it is.
Yeah, true. I know. But do you think it's getting tired though? The Bond franchise.
Never liked it in the first place, so I don't know.
Yeah, did you say that on the night of the premiere in '87?
No, I didn't. I didn't say it then. No. But to me, it's just boys' stuff.
Oh right, okay. Fair enough.
I thought he got a bit of a shot in the arm when they made it more like sort of Jason Bourne.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
I guess it was less jokey as it was.
I thought Pierce Brosnan was a good Bond, actually.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan was good at everything.
Yeah, he was, actually.
Until he then did the ABBA musical thing, which was a bit weird. But there you go.
On you go.
There you are. That's our take on Hollywood stars and everything. But if you've got something to say about Bond and who it should be next, God forbid they'd make it a woman. It would be, but there's even a debate about that, isn't there?
Well, maybe Keir Starmer can enrol.
That would be a great movie. Anyway, so on to politics. In a defiant message to The Sun on Sunday, the Prime Minister says he's coming out fighting, vowing to lead Labour into the next election.
Yeah, it comes as Labour rebels are said to be quietly lining up John Healey as a so-called unity candidate.
A GB News exclusive also reveals Wes Streeting is plotting to beat Angela Rayner to the punch in a fast-moving race to topple the Prime Minister. So it's all going on.
Well, the political editor for HuffPost UK, Kevin Schofield, joins us now. Good morning to you, Kevin.
Morning.
Of course, Sir Keir Starmer's hardly got a foot off the plane, and we're back to all of the debate and discussion over when the next move against him is likely to be.
Yeah, and this is going to continue now, I think, until the day he goes. And I know he said in The Sun that he's going to lead Labour into the next election. Well, he's kind of got to say that, hasn't he? He can't say he's not going to do that. But the fact of the matter is, and I think...
Oh, Kevin's signal has fallen off the air.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame. Right, yes. So, there we are.
Sir Keir Starmer was certainly much more comfortable in the international stage yesterday at the Munich Security Conference, where he could tell everybody just how strong an international leader he is, how he is investing huge sums of money in our defence hand. But really, what has happened in terms of the actual investment in our defence has been very slow to non-existent. For instance, I was sent an email yesterday from the Unite Union, who very interestingly said that Sir Keir Starmer needs to put his money where his mouth is.
That's interesting, it coming from a union, traditionally, which always support a Labour government.
Well, because they're saying, like, for instance, the Defence Investment Plan, the DIP, it's been delayed and delayed and delayed. And this is the thing that the government, that the industry, the defence industry sector need. And they've said the government's dithering on DIP is leaving thousands of UK defence jobs at risk. And he needs to put his money where his mouth is. Back to Kevin Schofield now. Kevin,
Sorry about that.
And no, it's absolutely fine. I mean, it's quite interesting to touch on that. Clearly, the unions are very concerned that all this international sort of grandstanding and talk on these big important issues is not being followed up by actual money on the table for this sector.
No, you're right. I mean, this, in many ways, is Keir Starmer in his comfort zone. He likes going on the international stage, making speeches, and, he looks the part. He looks like a statesman. He looks much better, rubbing shoulders with other foreign leaders. It's when he gets back home that he's in trouble. And as I was just saying, when the Scottish Labour leader, Anas Sarwar, got up last week to say he needs to go, there was real panic in Number 10 because they were worried that a cabinet minister may break ranks and resign. Another figure may follow in behind Anas Sarwar and say, you've got to go. And at that point, he really was, in a very precarious position. Now, they managed to rally the cabinet around him to put out public statements. But, it just showed how precarious his position is right now. And he can talk all he likes about being Prime Minister come the next election. But the reality is events could really overtake him. By-election at the end of the month, elections on May the 7th. If they go really bad for Labour, then he's in an awful lot of trouble.
Yes, but every time somebody declares an interest in his job or makes it very plain that that's what they're doing, he manages to pat it down at the moment. Everybody's firing off too soon, you get the feeling, don't you? But sooner or later, he will topple, do you think?
I think sooner or later he will. The problem that his rivals have got, so for instance, Angela Rayner has this tax issue with HMRC hanging over her. That could potentially go on for months. She can't really make a bid to be Prime Minister without knowing how that's going to turn out. Wes Streeting, potentially links with Peter Mandelson. He tried to get ahead of that this week by putting out messages himself between him and Peter Mandelson to try and kill off of that. But, there's still... certainly, he's a divisive figure, I think, amongst Labour MPs. And, and now that's why you've got this slightly strange idea that John Healey could be a unity candidate, maybe, coming through the middle. That really would be quite something. But it's definitely a rumour. It's definitely out there. I've heard quite a lot of people talking about John Healey as a potential Prime Minister.
I think he's well regarded, isn't he, Kevin? But at the end of the day, you know, we'd be going to sort of Stammer Mark II in personality terms. He is a grey man. He's just, you know, people are after a spark now, aren't they, after, you know, 18 months of Stammer?
Yeah, I think you're right, absolutely. It's he's been compared to John Major. Someone said to me he'd be a bit like Labour's John Major when he took over from Margaret Thatcher. No one really knew who he was, even though Major was the Chancellor, to be fair. But he was still a grey man, you know, had kind of come from nowhere. And John Healey would be, they say, in a similar position. But you're right, he would be very similar, I think, to Keir Starmer in terms of personality. Quite dull, steady as she goes, hard to pin down ideologically. And a lot of people would say, well, we've kind of tried that with Keir Starmer, hasn't really worked. Why should we try it with John Healey? But again, I think all this demonstrates why Keir Starmer is still clinging on, because there is no obvious alternative that Labour MPs can coalesce around to replace him. So, and I spoke to one senior figure in the party a couple of days ago, and they said, I still think the most likely outcome is that he's still Prime Minister at the end of the year. So who knows? I still think that May could be so bad that they've just got no alternative other than they just throw everything up in the air and say, look, anything has got to be better than Keir Starmer.
Well, yes, and in the end, I suppose it will come down to how hard a battle the top three figures maybe want to be. They're very, very ambitious. They're not scared now of putting their names out there and of courting the press. And there's nothing wrong, is there, or nothing unusual about a politician being ambitious?
No, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But one thing is, I think it's reflected in the opinion polls as well, is that the voters don't really like divided parties. They don't like this continual Westminster parlour game of who is going to be the next Prime Minister, who's going to take over from Keir Starmer. You know, they got rid of the Tories because they kept ploughing through so many Prime Ministers, and Labour was supposed to be different. It was supposed to be change, and yet it would appear on the face of it, I think, to the ordinary voter, it's just more of the same, more uncertainty over who's actually going to be running the country, not least because the country's obviously got an awful lot of problems right now, and I think they'd much rather the Prime Minister just got on with it and tried to solve those problems, and the party sort of got behind him and tried to put their shoulders to the wheel rather than constantly talking to themselves. They should actually be maybe trying to speak to the voters instead.
OK, Kevin, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning. Sorry we had a technical problem, but very glad that you were able to come back on, as it were.
Thanks, Kevin. OK, the former Defence Minister Tobias Ellwood predicts that the UK will introduce conscription within 5 years due to increasing global threats.
And it comes as what you were saying earlier, that Unite, the union, calls on the Prime Minister to invest in UK defence jobs to protect our national security.
Well, the former chairman of the Defence Select Committee, Tobias Ellwood, joins us now. Good morning to you. Happy Sunday.
Good morning to you.
Tobias, at the end of the day, conscription, I mean, you know, many people might think actually it's not a bad idea to pursue, but do you think any move towards this only being done because they think that, you know, somehow they can maybe do it on the cheap?
Well, good morning. It's worth putting this into context because as we've seen in Davos in January and indeed in Munich this weekend, presidents and prime ministers are openly stating that our global order is dead and we've entered a new and dangerous era of insecurity and we've got to prepare for those storms ahead. And I'm afraid Britain has been in denial for a number of years. We are woefully unprepared. Our conventional armed forces are overstretched. They lack ammunition, munitions, indeed stockpiles. And with America choosing to dial back its support from Europe, a wider conflict with Russia that's quietly backed by China is ever more likely. But it's the changing character of warfare which makes the UK particularly vulnerable, where society is directly targeted, bypassing battlefields, cyber attacks, sabotage to undersea cables, for example, interference with our electoral processes. This is the modern battlefield. This is grey zone warfare. So, the question is, who would you turn to, for example, if there was no power, no internet, no water for 72 hours in your community? That's the sort of threat that we're likely to face. Would you turn to your council, the local resilience forum, or perhaps the army? The army is overstretched. And this is where the idea of a modern national service then comes into play, developing a latent level of resilience within our society that can be called upon at any moment to step forward, to bolster our capability to provide that necessary defense and indeed deterrence.
So it's not just conscription of fighting age young people in the old-fashioned way. You're talking about building an infrastructure now.
Yeah, I mean, you asked the most important question. We all have this old idea of Dad's Army. I think you're showing some footage now of what a national service might be like. Of course, we need to bolster our Army, Navy, and Air Force. They are woefully, overstretched right now. But that's the traditional domains. I'm looking at bolstering our Coast Guard, for example, our critical national infrastructure protection, our defense industry, cybersecurity skills, AI skills, air traffic controllers, drone capabilities, the unmanned operations. These are the sort of things that we are short of. And there are examples right now in Scandinavia of how very small standing armed forces are bolstered almost overnight if they need to be, because they've done this national modern service. They've introduced it, indeed, a number of years ago. And they've had to, because the threat has been right on their doorstep. But that same threat is now reaching right across Europe to here on our shores.
I think many people will think what you are suggesting here is eminently sensible. But when you have a government, and let's face it, successive governments who've hollowed out defence, who talk great on the on a grand scale on an international stage like Sir Keir Starmer was yesterday, but then don't back it up actually with the finances needed, don't even publish the defence investment plan. Is there any hope that we would ever pursue such a sort of model going forward?
Yeah, I mean, this you get to the heart of the point. I mean, firstly, we need a frank conversation with the British people, because you need to get the British on board. I can understand an 18-year-old saying, hey, this is not for me. I don't want to go to Ukraine. What's that got to do with us? Well, we've got to prepare for war that is heading towards us. And with America disengaging, as I've said, we need to be better at looking after ourselves, building our own deterrence. And you mentioned that investment plan. This was a response to the government's big defense review last year, which was pretty clear in its language that our armed forces are overstretched. We're geared still to a peacetime footing, but we are struggling to meet our NATO commitments. We are not ready for war that's heading our way, and we desperately need to improve our defense posture. And that means in all domains of war: air, land, sea, space, cyber, and the ability to replenish. I remember an argument I had with Boris Johnson when he was Prime Minister, and he was getting rid of our main battle tanks. And, they're superb, they're brilliant. Yeah. 150 battle tanks we now have. But once they're lost in the first battle, or they might even win, but they'll limp home, where's the replenishment? Where's the industry ready to replace? Russia is producing that many every single month, and we simply won't be able to keep up. We might win the first battle, but we won't win the war itself.
But when you talk about conscription, and as I was saying, it's not just about fighting age young soldiers. You're talking about harnessing industry and getting ready. Some of those jobs that will provide jobs. Some of those jobs are very interesting, quite sexy jobs that young people might actually want.
Yeah, and again, an important point, because our conventional armed forces, and I'm still in the reserves in the British Army, many of these are beyond the current capabilities of what our conventional forces could do. We need to tap into those skill sets, with absolutely the young are very, very good at indeed. But I stress, when you look at what Norway, Finland, and Sweden are doing, there is a sense of duty by individuals to know what they would do if any form of attack would actually happen. They have a role to play in defending their country. And I think that's the attitude that we need to tap into. I think when Britain knows it's up against it, there is a British sense of resilience and determination that means every one of us will want to step forward and do our duty.
And that's a point, isn't it, though, Tobias? We're not up against it. Many people at the sort of upper echelons of government would look upon it as, because obviously these other countries are much closer to the threat from Russia. And, you know, there's a level of complacency, isn't there?
There is indeed. But look what happened to Land Rover Jaguar. You know, that was knocked out. Marks and Spencer's. And we sort of push this aside as if it's bad weather that's turned up. Oh, that's cyber attacks now happen. No, they shouldn't. We need to push back on this. And as I say, there's not even a declared war with Russia yet. And yet this is exactly what they're doing. The question is, will it take an acute event, a seismic disruption to Britain for the government and everybody to wake up and say, now is time to invest? And it isn't just in our hard power. We can't protect our territorial waters. We haven't got the Navy. We can't meet our NATO commitments because we haven't got the land forces there as well. So this is a new era of insecurity. We can't wait until 2035, which is when that increase to 3.5% is supposed to click in of defence spending. I would hope, because it turns out to be such a political football, that maybe the senior parties get together and make a national commitment to say, let's take this outside of party politics. It's too important for Britain. Let's commit ourselves to increase defence spending, but don't involve it in the political machinations of our usual politics.
Tobias Elbert, we'd have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. And isn't that what Marco Rubio was sort of stressing yesterday?
Yeah.
You've got to figure out who you are and what you want to defend. If it came to defending it, why do you want to defend it?
Best Defence Secretary we never had, I think. Tobias would have made a cracking Defence Secretary. He talks so much sense on this issue. And, of course, what did we get yesterday? The Prime Minister again talking about the investment in defence that hasn't yet come, but pulls the rabbit out of the hat. We're going to send our carrier strike group up to the high north. But where are the escorts? The frigates and the destroyers that we've been either tied up in maintenance or we've been paying them off. Where is that actually coming from? We'll rely on our allies to make up our carrier strike group. There's really serious problems in defence. I think this government is still yet to wake up.
This isn't the government to do anything about it, really, is it?
Well, I think...
OK, 23 minutes past 8. Let's have a look at some of the other stories coming into the newsroom.
Yes, the National Chief Prosecutor has emphasised that nobody is above the law amid increasing calls for a comprehensive police investigation into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's connections with Jeffrey Epstein.
Prince William shares his state of agony after hearing of Princess Catherine's cancer diagnosis 2 years ago. Details on how the couple told their children will be revealed in a new biography.
Youth unemployment in Britain tops Europe for the first time. The Bank of England blames minimum wage increases, which they say are pricing young people out of work.
And let's now get the weather forecast with Catherine Chalk.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After yesterday's sunshine, well, the rain has returned. It will clear the southeast later and then followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Icy stretches in places first thing though across Scotland and northern England. Otherwise to the south of that, an unsettled picture here, especially compared to Saturday. Outbreaks of rain could turn a little bit wintry across East Anglia. Behind that, it is a case of showers merging to give longer spells of rain across the country, perhaps mixed in with some hail and thunder. Highs of up to 10 or 11 degrees in the best of the sunshine across the southwest. So as we go through Sunday evening then, it's a wet end to the day across eastern parts of Scotland. Still, some of this falling as snow over the highest mountains. To the west of that, it is a case of clear spells and showers. That theme continues across Northern Ireland. A lot of cloud around, but also a few showers pushing their way in. And again, for much of England and Wales. And most of these will be falling as rain, especially more so across the northern parts of Wales compared to recent days. Otherwise, as we go through the night, most of the showers clear their way through, especially across the south and east. So largely dry here, but to the west, that's where we're just going to see rashes of showers pushing their way through as we start Monday morning. Otherwise, there is a fair amount of cloud around, but in between any lengthy clear skies, we could see a touch of frost to start Monday. Otherwise, as we go through Monday, it is a case of sunny spells, frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers in the north are still going to be falling wintry, especially over the hills, perhaps even merging to give longer spells of rain across Northern Ireland and more so into parts of Wales. Otherwise, there should be some sunshine in between and temperatures not doing too bad. We'll see highs of up to 9 or 10 degrees in the south. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Great British giveaway time now. Just 2 weeks left to have a go at it. As you know, luxury holiday worth 10 grand and 30 grand in tax-free cash.
Make sure you don't miss the chance to grab an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all. Courtesy of Riviera Travel, there's a terrific £10,000 holiday for two to be won. Choose from over 30 worldwide destinations like Thailand, South Africa, New Zealand, or even Sri Lanka. And because they have over 40 years experience with handcrafted tours, you'll be safe in the knowledge that every step of the journey will be planned with you in mind. There's just 2 weeks left to enter, so don't miss out on this amazing holiday and £30,000 in tax-free cash. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes are closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
So the very best of luck with that. Now, as Alexei Navalny's cause of death is revealed, an expert on Russia joins us next. This is GB News Breakfast with Anne and Mark.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get this on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Now, one of the last surviving D-Day veterans will be given a final farewell in Hampshire today, following his death aged 99.
Yes, Rifleman Jim Justice stormed the Normandy beaches on June the 6th, 1944, and he marched on whilst freeing German-occupied towns and villages in Belgium and Holland to help liberate the Belsen-Berger concentration camp a year later.
Well, joining us now is GB News reporter Isabel Fekulak.
Well, I'm here at New Forest Crematorium in New Milton, and the sun is beaming down on what has been quite the powerful display this morning, of course, to honour the life of Rifleman Jim Justice, who sadly passed away on January the 10th at the age of 99. He's one of the last surviving D-Day veterans, and today he is being honoured in a service that should be the send-off that he deeply deserves. Now, this morning we saw a huge parade come through the crematorium here with the British standards.
Unfortunately, they're all starting to get to that age now where we're just going to be losing them all. We're not going to have any first-hand knowledge from those guys telling us what it was like. And kids of today, they've got to realise that these guys fought for their country, they fought for their freedom, and we don't need to be giving it away.
Now that was Nick Lambert, ambassador for the New Milton British Region branch.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now to one of the most extraordinary stories. I suppose we shouldn't be shocked when we hear about how some Kremlin people decide to pursue dissidents in Russia and elsewhere in the world and then kill them in extraordinary circumstances, because the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny apparently died in prison after being poisoned with a deadly toxin that is only found in Ecuadorian dart frogs.
Yeah, the UK and other allies have described the poisoning, which they claim could only have been carried out by Vladimir Putin's government, as a barbaric act. But Moscow has dismissed the funding, or the finding even, as a disinformation campaign.
Well, joining us now to discuss this is the expert on Russia at Chatham House, Keir Giles. A very good morning to you, Keir. Maybe you're not shocked to hear this terrible way of assassinating somebody.
No, it's not a particular surprise. Yesterday, after the announcement was made, I had a number of calls from journalists saying this seems out of character for Russia, because when we think of exotic poisons that Russia has used, it's usually chemicals, like polonium for Alexander Litvinenko, like Novichok for Sergei Skripal in 2018 in the UK. But it's not that out of character if you consider the broader scope of how Russia uses these exotic means to murder its enemies. If we think back again to the UK in 2012, the case of Alexander Perepelichny, the whistleblower who was targeted by Russian intelligence, he was poisoned using, it's suspected, Gelsemium elegans, an equally rare and exotic plant. The difference, of course, is that in the case of Alexei Navalny, poisoning was suspected, and so samples were collected and smuggled out of the country to be tested, whereas in the Perepelichny case and others before it, there wasn't that suspicion of Russian involvement, so key evidence was not collected at the time.
How were we able then to determine exactly what the poison was? The Russians, presumably, if they had something to hide, wouldn't have made access to the body and the forensics all that easy.
Well, let's think back to the time of Navalny's death and the efforts that were being made by his wife and those around him to actually reach the body. The Russians did make it difficult, and they insisted on burial way up in that penal colony in the north of Russia, as opposed to bringing the body back to Moscow. So yes, there were efforts to obstruct any collection of samples, and somebody, somewhere along the line, has been both clever and quite brave to smuggle these out of the country.
The death it causes, this terrible toxin, is almost sadistic, isn't it? Is it meant to be so that, obviously, it incurs real fear amongst other dissidents?
Of course, there's an element of sadism and also an element of theatricality, because there's an argument that by using these highly exotic, really obscure means of killing people in a very nasty manner, Russia wins both ways. If it's undetected, which often it is, because let's not forget, we only know about the victims of Novichok poisoning that survive by accident. We don't know how many more in cases where it's been successful. But also if it is detected through some chance, as we have here, or in the previous instances of Novichok poisoning, then Russia still wins out, because they demonstrate that they have these means of causing excruciating deaths and reaching out and touching people they want to give the impression wherever they are in the world.
They're very sensitive in the Kremlin, aren't they, to dissidents? They have to go to these lengths to try and get rid of them in this very theatrical, as you say, and sadistic way. Why are they so... I mean, why don't they just deal with them in a very, I don't know, matter-of-fact way? Put them on some sort of fake trial, imprison them, do what normal countries do. Why are they so over the top about this?
Well, there are two questions there. Why are they so afraid of people like Navalny, who really don't pose a threat to the political system in Russia, and yet they still feel they need to get rid of them? And secondly, why all this theatre around it? Like, for example, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner company, who did in fact lead a march on Moscow and was a potential threat. Instead of locking him up, they arranged for him to die in a fiery plane crash. So yes, there's a great deal of spectacle associated with it, and it does, as you say, show this fundamental insecurity of the Russian regime, that people who are even only a tangential passing threat are seen as worthwhile targets for this extremely expensive way of murdering them.
Yeah, and it is murder, of course, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Thank you.
That's Keir Giles there from Chatham House. Right, we'll move on because what's happening next? The latest sport with Aidan McGee.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
It's just coming up to 20 to 9. Aidan's here with the sport. Hi.
Rugby,
yeah, exactly. We're going to have to rattle through because we don't have a great deal of time, but let's talk about Scotland. They regained the Calcutta Cup at Murrayfield. I mean, they took on an England side who hadn't lost since early February last year. In fact, over the calendar year now, that loss against Ireland at the time. But bad discipline from England as well. They lost Henry Arundel to a red card on account of 2 yellow cards. I just think that's the pressure getting to them. They knew that what they were going to go into at Murrayfield, and they just didn't manage the occasion very well. That was Sir Clive Woodward saying yesterday in the Mail, wasn't it? If you remember, he said they've got to they've got to play the game, not the occasion. I think they got caught up with it. I think they walked straight into Scotland's trap. And Scotland were outstanding on the day, weren't they? Let's touch on Ireland as well, because they survived a scare to beat Italy. And I think we'll know more about exactly where England are specifically next Saturday when they face Ireland at Twickenham. On the Winter Olympics, we've got some action happening right now. The Team GB men are up against Germany in the curling. And we saw some good stuff yesterday, because I don't think GB women are going to do anything in terms of medals. They're down in 7th. There's a bit of a way to go, but they pulled off a shock win yesterday against Canada, beating them 7-6. Canada were one of the medal hopefuls, and this is after the girls had not really done that well against China and South Korea. It's one thing losing to those nations, but they were beaten quite comprehensively. But to bounce back yesterday and beat Canada, well done to them. Britain now 15th in the medals table, a slight improvement, and still a bit to go. It doesn't finish until next weekend, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so still the possibility.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Look,
in the curling, which we thought was over yesterday.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's probably a mistake on our part. But anyway, but no, let's look at. There's lots of criticism because this isn't cheap. Lots of money goes into Team GB, and there's no entitlement of medals. Of course there isn't. No. But to only win 2 last time, and so far only win 1, I think we should be looking for an improvement on that, because they get a lot of lotto funding.
Hey.
Do they? So it's not an investment problem?
No, it's not. No, not at all. I mean, sometimes in sport you get criticised for investing too much.
Yeah.
But equally, when you put that kind of money, and it's taxpayers' money, I think there's...
You need to see rewards.
Actually, you do, but also they get their money reduced next time as well. So that's the punishment.
I see, yes, that is a problem.
It was a John Major thing.
To use a Winter Olympics now, it's a downward slope then, basically.
What a great way to finish.
Yeah. And gentlemen, we are finished. We've got to take a quick...
Good to see you this weekend.
Cheers,
got to take a quick break right now. We'll be back in a moment.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're heading to Europe this half term, well, it's a mixed bag out there. Outbreaks of rain and some heavy showers and thunderstorms. Best of the sunshine, though, really confined to the Canary Islands and towards the south of Spain. Otherwise, outbreaks of rain across Portugal and northern Spain. Across the Mediterranean, that's where we're going to see areas of showers and thunderstorms pushing their way through. Otherwise, best of the sunshine really across the Canary Islands, highs of 25.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every Sunday from 11, join Michael Portillo.
There will be topical discussion, looking at the week before and the week to come. So kick back and relax at 11 a.m. on Sundays on GB News with me, Michael Portillo. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
First up, we've got Traitors. So probably now the biggest TV show in the country, and obviously a global hit as well. We've just been announced it's going to be a stage show coming sometime early next year, we think. And it's got huge prestige behind it. So Sam Mendes, who's major Hollywood director, Bond films, 1917, that incredible film, his company is behind it with All3 Media, which is the Dutch production company that originally created the Traitors concept. So a lot of backing behind it. We don't know which way it's going to swing yet, but the people that are, for example, director Robert Hastie, 2 of my favourite shows we were just talking about, Standing at the Sky's Edge, which is a very serious, dark show, and then Operation Mincemeat, which is an absolute lark silliness.
I have to say, my favourite show in the world, I've seen it 10 times.
Which one?
mincemeat.
Oh, have you?
Yes, on Broadway and the West End.
Oh, wonderful.
Absolutely obsessed by it.
Yeah, it's incredible. So the talent behind all of this is really exciting. Whether we're going to have sort of jazz hands and key changes, I don't know. No cast yet. I would love to see Claudia actually breaking some moves, but I don't think we'll get anyone like that in it.
It could be a bit of a comedy, is what you're suggesting.
I think it's going to be veering towards the lighter side of it, highly entertaining. And they've promised, we keep getting twists every season. The one thing they have said is they will be following the format, but there will be surprises. So this one we're very much looking forward to. More news to come if you meet me up in the tower later.
Interesting. What else do you have for us?
So the next up, we've got HMS Pinafore, which is glorious. And there's a lot of people that feel that Gilbert and Sullivan can be a little bit stuffy, perhaps a little bit old-fashioned.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Welcome back. Shall we have a quick look through the newspaper front pages? Let's start with the Sunday Times, which is saying that Labour activists paid for a smear campaign against journalists.
The Sunday Mirror reveals Prince William's agony after hearing of his wife's cancer diagnosis 2 years ago.
The Independent headlines Putin's arch-rival Navalny was poisoned by the Kremlin.
And the Mail on Sunday reports there must be a probe into envoy Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.
Well, joining us to go through the stories of the newspapers this morning, we've got political commentator Duncan Barks and writer and journalist Emma Wolfe. Barks and Wolfe, yes, to the rescue. Emma, tell us about this Sun on Sunday interview in which Keir Starmer sort of says he's coming back and he's coming back fighting.
Coming up fighting. He's had a tough week, but he's in a good place right now. Well, he's actually in Munich, but anyway, maybe that's why he's in a good place. He's stronger than ever. I found this interview in The Sun fascinating because the levels of, I don't know, willful blindness, self-delusion, you know, fill in the gap. Yeah, he acknowledges it's been, he says, when you do my job, you have tough weeks. Well, by any measure, it's been the worst couple of weeks of his premiership, hasn't it? And he's had some bad weeks. He's lost his second chief of staff. He's had all the Mandelson revelations.
Cabinet secretary.
He's had the Scottish leader calling for his resignation. He's had, cabinet secretary, Matthew Doyle, head of exactly. So, but he's in a great place. It's all
fighting.
Good. He's fighting.
Put him up.
Because we know we've all seen the footage of him with a pair of boxing gloves on, attacking a punch bag in North London gym somewhere, which was so painful.
Awful.
But he's coming out fighting again, which is great news for us all.
Well, let's hope he can punch a bit better than he did the last time.
Yeah, exactly. This interview in The Sun comes across as like Reset 154. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, there's a story, an exclusive on the GB News website about Wes Streeting, you know, and some allies of Wes saying they're eyeing up possibilities, ditto Angela Rayner. And that's the last thing you want to hear about if you're Sir Keir Starmer, never hear Keir, in Munich, you know, thinking, I've just done this interview with The Sun, it's all going to be fine, I've admitted I've made some mistakes, and then all of a sudden, it all comes back in full circle. Yeah, the same people are vying for your job. It's not going to go anywhere.
But this is exactly what they criticised the Tories for as well, you know, all of the infighting, one Prime Minister one week, another different one the next, everybody fighting in, and they're doing exactly the same thing.
And this is the thing, Starmer came into power vowing to clean up sleaze, you know, to make politics...
The grown-ups are in charge.
The grown-ups back in the room, all of that stuff. And he has been mired in sleaze, not directly himself, necessarily, but the connections, the grubbiness and the sleaze, that they are awash. I mean, accusations of misogyny, toxic, sexist boys club within Number 10, from his own senior female MPs.
The thing I can't get my head around is how quickly it started to unravel, because literally within days of taking office, so we're talking just over 18 months ago, we had all of the Lord Ali stuff. If you remember, that's what kicked it all off. You know, you've got this Labour donor who's buying suits and glasses for the Prime Minister. And here we are, a year and a half into government, and it's unravelled so quickly.
He's still getting hammered. Doesn't he remind you a bit of that Monty Python character, the knight, you know, that gets bits chopped off him all the time? Oh, just a flesh wound. I'm still fine. Just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Or Walter Mitty. Or
Well, he believes it.
Or Benny Hill.
He can say it as much as he likes, but it's not stopping all of the infighting, is it? Can we move on, Emma, to the minimum wage, which is on the face of it a good thing, but it seems to be pricing young people out of a job.
Yeah, I mean, the
Sunday Telegraph.
Tories have been calling this a complete disaster wage policy. This is really shocking, actually. It's on the front of the Telegraph. Britain's youth unemployment rate is now higher than the European, than the EU bloc for the first time since records began in the year 2000, which is, you know, first the highest rate than Europe in over 25 years. 16 to 24-year-olds, the jobless figures have jumped to 15.3%. This is according to the OECD. And the Bank of England senior officials have come out there saying this is a direct result of these increases, relentless increases in the minimum wage. It's a really tough one, this, because, look, young people do need to be paid properly. They are facing cost of living crisis like everyone else. They are facing rent increases, rent hikes all the time. It is a tough world in which to grow up. Why shouldn't 16 to 24-year-olds be paid properly? But also, on the other hand, look at the assault on employers. Look at the rises in business rates, in national insurance contributions, in employer contributions. Look at the workers' rights bill. It's so difficult for them as well. So, I don't know what the answer is, but it's definitely affecting the economy.
It's a barrier to opportunity, isn't it? And I mean, you're absolutely right, Emma. You've outlined all of the obstacles in place now, put in by the last two budgets by Rachel Reeves. And a lot of young people, myself included, you know, we got our first opportunity. What?
We thought you were trying to suggest you're still young,
no, I'm
which of course you are.
But the point I wanted to make was when we were young...
he was 16 to 24.
It's the Botox. When I was in that age bracket, my first opportunity of employment was in the hospitality sector, right? And now you've got the hospitality sector, which we know is massively hammered for all of the reasons you've just outlined. And if you're a kid and you're 18, 19, you might be thinking, I want to get a bit of experience in the workplace, have a job in a bar or a pub. You don't get that opportunity now because employers in that sector and elsewhere, but especially in that sector, are just going, can't afford to do it.
That's right.
And it's not just about a job, it's about development as a young human being, it's about dealing with other people, all those things. So we've got a generation coming through who aren't getting those essential life skills when a lot of us did when we were younger.
And to that end, we're going to be speaking in the next hour to a young pub landlord who's actually had to close the business because he just can't deal with all the government and just changes.
And funnily enough, isn't it also then engendering a climate where young people don't need to work, don't want to work, because they can't get jobs anyway, even if they are willing?
I think there's also a bit of a hangover from COVID as well. I don't want to go back to it, but the idea that there's a generation coming through who missed out on education, who kind of like see the government as, well, the government will pay me or pick up the slack or whatever. Maybe the mindset that we all had when we were a lot younger doesn't exist in the same way.
But you're right, Duncan. You know, back in the day, you could walk into any pub or cafe or restaurant and pick up a job as a waitress or a barmaid or a barman or whatever. And now you do hear stories of people, my nieces and nephews who are in their late teens, applying for 20, 30 more jobs in local,
Just ordinary sort of evening,
and it's
Saturday type
really
jobs.
tough. And I suppose now employers are having to say, well, I'll employ one young person to be a waitress rather than four. Or, it's just when the costs are so high and you are a small business, it's almost impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose when we were kids, if you wanted money, you'd just go and find a job.
Yeah.
But that is probably, not even on the consciousness of a new generation of people.
I have a massive amount of sympathy with today's younger generation. You come out of university, saddled with debt, you're looking around the job market, it ain't great. You've got a load of debt you're going to have to pay off later in life. You might think, well, I'll take a couple of jobs to try and do that. You can't get a job in hospitality for all of the reasons we've just outlined. The idea of getting on the property ladder, well, that's a pipe dream for most people. I mean, it's a really tough situation.
Can I also mention, though, when I was a teenager, teenager, I never took taxis, I never ordered an Uber. And I'm not saying it's all about, you know, just cut out the avocado on toast, but I never took Ubers, I never ate food out unless it was a special meal or whatever you'd saved up. You know, you worked and you didn't kind of spend money on your mobile phone.
Exactly right, Melanie. You've got it right. They're wrapped in cotton wool, every one of them.
Smashed avocado on toast sounds really good, doesn't it? We'll ponder that during the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After yesterday's sunshine, well, the rain has returned. It will clear the southeast later and then followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Icy stretches in places first thing though across Scotland and northern England. Otherwise to the south of that, an unsettled picture here, especially compared to Saturday. Outbreaks of rain could turn a little bit wintry across East Anglia. Behind that, it is a case of showers merging to give longer spells of rain across the country, perhaps mixed in with some hail and thunder. Highs of up to 10 or 11 degrees in the best of the sunshine across the southwest. So as we go through Sunday evening then, it's a wet end to the day across eastern parts of Scotland. Still, some of this falling as snow over the highest mountains. To the west of that, it is a case of clear spells and showers. That theme continues across Northern Ireland, a lot of cloud around, but also a few showers pushing their way in, and again for much of England and Wales. And most of these will be falling as rain, especially more so across the northern parts of Wales compared to recent days. Otherwise, as we go through the night, most of the showers clear their way through, especially across the south and east. So largely dry here, but to the west, that's where we're just going to see rashes of showers pushing their way through as we start Monday morning. Otherwise, there is a fair amount of cloud around, but in between any lengthy clear skies, we could see a touch of frost to start Monday. Otherwise, as we go through Monday, it is a case of sunny spells, frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers in the north are still going to be falling wintry, especially over the hills, perhaps even merging to give longer spells of rain across Northern Ireland and more so into parts of Wales. Otherwise, there should be some sunshine in between and temperatures not doing too bad. We'll see highs of up to 9 or 10 degrees in the south. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Make sure you don't miss the chance to grab an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all. Courtesy of Riviera Travel, there's a terrific £10,000 holiday for two to be won. Choose from over 30 worldwide destinations like Thailand, South Africa, or even Sri Lanka. There's just 2 weeks left to enter. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
Following 100-mile-an-hour winds, which knocked out power and left 28,000 customers across Cornwall without access to broadband services, that people are flocking to the phone box in Helford.
We're going to phone this phone box and see if anyone picks up. Now, the village of Helford, that 3-week storm, a lot of problems with connectivity, but the phone box we're calling now was a vital lifeline for so many in the area at the time. The phone is still ringing, and that's the beautiful...
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello.
You're live on GB News. Who is speaking?
Tony. Say that again. Tony, hello.
Tony, do we reach you in Cornwall?
Hello. GB News, you say?
That's right. Hey, how's it going, Tony? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Great.
Do you live in Helford?
No, I don't live in Helford. I've been staying locally quite often.
And have you suffered from this broadband outage?
The whole phone call system down here has been, yes, we have to.
And when did you last use a phone box before today?
Before today, some time ago.
No.
I wasn't here, and where I was had mobile phone reception, whereas here, there is absolutely none.
Are you a fan of GB News? Because a lot of people staying connected to their communities, they've lost maybe their internet services. All they've got really is the telly and the phone box as well.
Yeah, the phone box here, when I first saw it, it all looked rather quaint, and I thought, oh, that's nice. And as I'm down here quite often, the amount I've seen this phone box used, even without the storms and the outages, people passing by with no phone signal at least can phone back and say they've had a problem with the ferry or they can't get to where they're going to be.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning to you. Another blow for Sir Keir Starmer as Labour rebels conjure fresh plots to oust him.
A GB News exclusive has revealed that Wes Streeting still wants to beat Angela Rayner to the punch in a fast-moving race to topple the Prime Minister.
Well, John Healey, meanwhile, is quietly being put forward as the unity candidate. But just how long will the Prime Minister cling on?
The Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was killed by a lethal toxin under the orders of Vladimir Putin. That's according to the UK government. Navalny's wife, Yulia, spoke to Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper.
Now, it's not just words, it's scientific proof that my husband, Alexei Navalny, was poisoned and killed by Russian government and by Vladimir Putin and Russian.
Police chiefs and ministers demand a probe into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's role as UK trade envoy. That's amid fresh accusations of leaked secrets.
And it's last orders for a 19-year-old pub landlord who has been forced to close the business, he says, due to financial pressures.
It's not quite as sunny out there compared to Saturday. There's further rain in the forecast. I will have all of the details coming up shortly.
Well, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Anne Diamond.
And I'm Mark White. This is GB News Breakfast.
The more you read, and it's made the headlines again, the former Prince Andrew, the more you realise that there does need to be a proper investigation. And I want to know who made him trade envoy in the first place. Who thought that was a good idea?
Well, someone in the government of the day. I mean, the thing about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, obviously, is that there's lots around about the salacious nature of what may or may not have happened with Jeffrey Epstein, but it's very difficult to prove what might have gone on behind closed doors a lot of the time. It's very different when you actually start delving into what the business affairs of the then Prince Andrew as trade envoy might have been.
And who was paying for his flights, and who was sitting alongside him when he was, and who did he email, and did he... and if there are emails, and it would appear that there may well be, that prove that he was actually giving secrets away, leaking secrets in some way to the wrong people, then he's in serious trouble, and we need to know.
Because the difference is there's a paper trail.
Yes.
Different to what might have gone on behind closed doors, a paper trail.
But the mixture of the two things. I mean, maybe if you're brought up in the royal family and you are the favoured one of the Queen's children, it is always said, do you grow up with no moral compass because you never have to think about these things? Well, you do something you don't know whether it's right or wrong because you're just entitled.
Anyway, I think we're being prepared potentially for an announcement either on a formal police investigation or charges. The fact that Thames Valley Police came out just a few days ago to say that they are actively now discussing with the Crown Prosecution Service on the back of what His Majesty the King has said about cooperating fully, of course, with the police in their ongoing investigation. There may be something in the offing there.
Well, there's certainly plenty to discuss for Camilla Tominey, who joins us now live from Westminster. She's getting ready for her programme in about 20 minutes' time. Morning, Camilla.
Morning.
My goodness, just when you think it might be safe to open the Sunday papers, suddenly it's not anymore because it's all at you again.
I know, it seems to me that when things go badly wrong for the country, they go quite well for copy, as we say in the trade, which is never a good thing, but that's the way it is. You were talking earlier about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. I've been speaking to the Shadow Foreign Secretary, Priti Patel, this morning. She's in Munich. We did a pre-record. That's going to play out in today's show. And she had a very interesting response to my question about whether Andrew should face a parliamentary inquiry. Don't forget, Priti Patel was Trade Secretary after he left his post as Trade Envoy. But I think, as you're both saying there, this has transcended into something quite different. It's one thing to have scrutiny of his private life, but quite enough there when it comes to revelations that he, quite similarly to Peter Mandelson, is alleged to have leaked documents to Epstein that he had privy to while he was Trade Envoy. I mean, that's a privileged position. He's behaving on behalf of, well, at the time, Queen and country, but also the government. So I think big question marks. And we've also heard, haven't we, from the Director of Public Prosecution saying no one should be above the law, and that includes royals. So I'll be discussing that with Dame Priti. I'm going to be speaking to the Labour MP, Graham Downey. Now, he's based in Scotland, and that's interesting, of course, because at the beginning of the week, we did have the Scottish leader of the Labour Party, Anna Sarwar, call for Keir Starmer's resignation. He said that the government has made too many mistakes. I should be asking Mr Downey, who is a Starmer loyalist, how he can disagree with that analysis, not least when we've got one poll by Politico suggesting that 52% of the country think the Prime Minister should resign. Also going to be speaking to Reform UK's Head of Policy, Zia Youssef, on the show. We've got a big press conference again on Tuesday with Nigel Farage set to unveil his own shadow cabinet. One wonders what role Zia Youssef will play and whether he may have been outmanoeuvred by Robert Jenrick. Because I think Robert Jenrick is set to be announced as the new shadow chancellor under a future Farage government, which is a role that Zia Youssef and, I think, Richard Tice both wanted.
Very good point.
Yeah.
On the issue of Sir Keir Starmer, we know that he prefers the international stage, but I mean, he's no sooner touched down than he's back in the thick of it. He might as well just have stayed here because it's all, nothing goes away, does it, Camilla? It's all there waiting for his return.
Well, is that the reason, Mark, he's never hear Keir? Because it's all too desperate on the domestic front and he likes to jet off and escape it. But, of course, he's landing himself in hot water again in Munich with all of this talk about realigning with the EU. And equally, we've got a number of stories in the papers, as you have discussed, John Healey, the Defence Secretary, on manoeuvres, stories about Ed Miliband wanting to do a deal with the Greens, stories about how Andy Burnham is planning to perhaps come back to Parliament via Lucy Powell, who's the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Complex stuff. On Burnham, by the way, I'm also going to be speaking to Sacha Lord, who was once his nighttime czar, who's going to speak about Burnham and his potential as a successor to Keir Starmer, but also talk about the hated taxes on pubs, which don't seem to abate, despite the government suggesting they were climbing down on those policies. We've still got pubs in dire straits, along with others in the hospitality industry. And on the economy, I'm going to be speaking to Ian King, and he can talk us through why that 0.1% growth rate is so damaging for the UK.
Camilla, before we lose you, I mean, you've been a royal correspondent for many years as well. And I just wonder if you've met Prince Andrew and whether you can answer that question. I mean, who thought it would be a good idea to give such an important job to him? He wasn't trained in being a trade envoy, was he?
Well, they didn't really know what to do with him. And yes, I have interviewed him on a number of occasions. I had to do a piece for his 50th birthday. There are photographs of me with him, which some people like on X want to liken to some kind of friendship. No, funny enough, I'm holding a notebook and pen in both. And I have written that he's quite an extraordinary character, really. I remember on the Mexico trip that I shadowed in on me, he kept on insisting on calling me by my surname, Tomini, which seemed a little bit formal and rather public school. But I think at the time when he left the Falklands and didn't have much to do, there was this sense that he needed to be given a job. Of course, eyebrows were raised at the time because he was nicknamed Air Miles Andy, that he had this job almost being a licensed globetrotter. And I think the stuff that has come to light, although he denies any wrongdoing, he hasn't been found guilty in a court of law of anything, although he has certainly been found guilty in the court of public opinion, was that this role sort of suited his jet-set lifestyle. Now, with allegations of leaks, etc., it's hard not to agree with those who are calling for both a police and parliamentary inquiry.
Fascinating stuff. Just before we go, I just want to rant, if that's OK.
Please.
Once again, the Foreign Secretary, she was the same when she was the Home Secretary, avoiding your show. She's frit, isn't she?
They are frit. A number of senior cabinet people are completely frit. Keir Starmer's never come on the show. Rachel Reeves has never come on the show. I've got huge admiration for those who do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you can't face a grilling by me on behalf of the public, then literally what is the point of you? So we don't know why they run scared, beyond the idea that they are a little bit frightened of being Tominied on a Sunday morning.
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's a verb. OK, well, you go away and Tomini for a bit, and we'll see you again, well, 25-ish past 9. So, yeah, looking forward to a great show there, Camilla. Thank you.
Thank you.
Being Tominied. Yeah, sort of know what it feels like.
Yeah.
OK, we'll move on right now to Kevin Schofield, who joins us for a look again at the incredible mess that is our domestic politics at the moment. Kevin, this interview in The Sun on Sunday that Keir Starmer has done, will it convince anyone? He says he's come out fighting, he's obviously had a good time in Munich, and he will lead us into the next election. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect him to say that. I mean, weirdly, he is probably stronger this morning than he was this time last week, bizarrely, because of the attempted coup on Monday by the Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar. That then ended up with the Cabinet en masse supporting the Prime Minister. He went to the Parliamentary Labour Party meeting that night, got a rousing reception, as they always do. I saw him outside afterwards hugging Labour MPs. And it was really, really bizarre because just a few hours earlier, his premiership had been hanging by a thread. So, yeah, I'm sure it's half-term recess now as well. So MPs aren't in Parliament plotting in corridors. They're in their constituencies. So he probably gets a little bit of a breathing space now. But the Gorton and Denton by-election is only a week and a half away. That could bring him right back down to earth with a spectacular crash if Labour were to come third, potentially third behind the Greens and Reform. That would be an absolute disaster, and I think that would raise questions about his time in office, how long he's got once again.
Can we just ask you about John Healey? I really like John Healey. He's a decent guy, but, I mean, he's just another grey man, isn't he? I described him probably quite unfairly earlier as a bit like a school janitor, but you cannot imagine him, surely, as the next leader. It's just more of the same.
Yeah, you're right. I think everyone likes John Healey. There's nothing not to like about him. He's perfectly pleasant, a decent, solid politician, and he's been, I think, a pretty good defence secretary, knows that brief inside out, did it in opposition as well. But I think the idea that he could make the leap then from that job to being Prime Minister, I think is probably a bit of a stretch. But I think that shows actually why Keir Starmer is still clinging on, because there's no obvious alternative. You know, you throw John Healey into the mix alongside Angela Rayner. She's got her tax issues, West Streeting, potential, you know, Mandelson links there might hold him back. Ed Miliband even has been mentioned. You know, I think a lot of Labour MPs are kind of holding off trying to bring down Keir Starmer because they just don't know what's going to come next. And sometimes it's safer just to stick with what you know, even if that, on the face of it, doesn't look such a great option. So, yeah, they're in a bit of a mess. And, yeah, there is no doubt there's a rumour going around about John Healey as a potential unity candidate, a stalking horse candidate. But, yeah, I think it would be a major, major surprise where he'd end up as Prime Minister one day.
And if you were a member of the other parties who would hope to win a general election one day, it's actually in your interests that Keir Starmer stays on, isn't it? You don't want anyone new and exciting coming in and creating great positive headlines, if that's what they would do. You actually want more of the same, don't you, so that the country is truly fed up, even if they're not now, with the present Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there was, Camilla just mentioned there was that poll during the week that showed that 52% of the country believe Keir Starmer should resign. So the longer he stays in office, the more annoyed, presumably, voters are going to get, and that can only be good for the opposition parties, you know, you speak to Labour MPs and they'll tell you how unpopular the Prime Minister is on the doorstep with voters. So, yeah, why wouldn't you, if you were in Nigel Farage or Kevin Badenoch, Zach Palanke, why wouldn't you want a deeply unpopular guy at the top of government? Because that's inevitably just going to help you as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange dance going on right now. I think Labour MPs accept that they probably need to change leader. The opposition are, you know, they've got to make the right noises about he must go, but they actually kind of want him to stay in place. Labour MPs are a bit frightened about what comes next. Do they want West Street and maybe not? Do they want Angela Rayner, John Healey, Ed Miliband, etc., etc.? So he's sort of there almost by default right now, and it's a very unsatisfactory position for the public as much as anything, because, as we know, he's not terribly popular. So yeah, it's a case of a holding pattern. It's like, watch this space right now. I think we'll have fireworks after the by-election and definitely after the elections on the 7th of May.
Mm.
Wonderful.
I wonder what we'll talk about then. Thank you so much, Kevin. Great to see you. Have a happy Sunday. Right, it's time now for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, I'm Reverend Mike, a vicar in the Church of England. When life is tough and we're really hurting, comfort can be hard to come by. A well-meaning friend comes along and they advise well, they reassure us that everything's going to be okay. But if they've never been through the same hardship, we think to ourselves, we won't even say, but you've no idea what it feels like. But what of a friend who draws near, who's experienced the very hardship that we're facing, perhaps worse? That is a friend who can offer comfort. As we ready ourselves to enter Lent, we remember that Jesus is not only God with us, but God who knows what it is like. See, he hungered as we do. He felt loneliness, emotional flatness, grief, sorrow. He knows what it is like. And this, I think, is a very wonderful truth. Because it's one thing, isn't it, to pray to a God who's very powerful, who's able to help from afar. But it is quite another to lift our cares to one who knows what it's like, one who's walked in my shoes. That is the glory of Jesus. As the Bible says, he sympathizes with our weakness, and we can come to him for help in time of need.
Time for the Great British Giveaway. You know what it's about. £10,000 holiday, 30 grand tax-free cash. Here's how to take part.
There's only 2 weeks remaining to see how you could win a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, we could be sorting out your summer with an incredible holiday for two worth £10,000, courtesy of Riviera Travel. You'll get to choose from 47 tours in over 30 worldwide destinations. And with return flights, transfers and luxury hand-picked accommodation, you'll find yourself in Costa Rica, Japan or even Canada. Make sure you secure your place in the draw to win £30,000 cash and a luxury holiday. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19, PO Box 8690, Derby, DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes are closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Is it a scandal that we're losing so many pubs? We're losing at the rate of something like one a day, is that right?
Yeah, it literally is one a day, 7, 8 every week.
Which is heartbreaking heartbreaking for the community, because every community needs its pub, doesn't it? But particularly heartbreaking if you're the landlord who's been trying to get business going, tried to keep going, and then in the end has to give up. In a moment, we're going to talk to a young pub landlord who's been forced to close shop, and it's broken his heart too. It's GB News Now. You're watching GB News Breakfast with Anne and Mark.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, just before the break, we were talking about just how difficult pubs across the country are facing it, with one pub each day going to the wall. We can find out, actually, from a former pub landlord, of the corner cupboard, Luke Briffett, the corner cupboard in Gloucestershire. Luke, you can tell us firsthand, you had to give up, clearly, your pub, in terms of the difficulties you faced. How bad has it been?
I mean, the thing is, we were there for not even that long, really. I think we were in the site for 8 months, and the pub itself before us had had a rather turbulent past with a few different landlords passing through. And I walked in there thinking, well, perhaps they must have just done something wrong and that we'll make a good go of it. But I realised quite how it's almost an impossible task running a pub now. And we did absolutely everything we could have done. There is nothing more that we could have done. I had a solid team behind us. We had food going. We were looking at planning all these different events. But even though the place was busy and the food was picking up and getting more and more popular, there was not enough coming into the business financially. So we realised that I don't know what you can do to make it work. And I realised that it's not just me. There's pubs that have been going for 30, 40 years that are closing down. People that's all they've ever done. They put their heart and soul, their whole life into it, and it's still not worked for them. So we especially didn't really stand a chance coming into it in this climate. If people that have been in it forever still can't make it work, how on earth will we?
No, and you're 19, young, dynamic. You really want the business to succeed, and still found it basically impossible. Is it the government's fault? I mean, they're increasing taxes. They seem to be making life more and more difficult for publicans. Actually, what you need is real support, isn't it? Very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every publican's spoken about the business rates and the national insurance going up and all these changes, and then Reeves announced the U-turn, but it was not really a U-turn on what needed to be done. It was a U-turn on a minor thing that they call progress, but it wasn't. There's so much more.
Okay, Luke, we've got to leave it there. We are running out of time. Time's up for us. Last orders. Thank you very much for joining us. Camilla with a packed show next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After yesterday's sunshine, well, the rain has returned. It will clear the southeast later and then followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Icy stretches in places first thing though across Scotland and northern England. Otherwise to the south of that, an unsettled picture here, especially compared to Saturday. Outbreaks of rain could turn a little bit wintry across East Anglia. Behind that, it is a case of showers merging to give longer spells of rain across the country, perhaps mixed in with some hail and thunder. Highs of up to 10 or 11 degrees in the best of the sunshine across the southwest. So as we go through Sunday evening then, it's a wet end to the day across eastern parts of Scotland. Still, some of this falling as snow over the highest mountains. To the west of that, it is a case of clear spells and showers. That theme continues across Northern Ireland. A lot of cloud around, but also a few showers pushing their way in. And again, for much of England and Wales. And most of these will be falling as rain, especially more so across the northern parts of Wales compared to recent days. Otherwise, as we go through the night, most of the showers clear their way through, especially across the south and east. So largely dry here, but to the west, that's where we're just going to see rashes of showers pushing their way through as we start Monday morning. Otherwise, there is a fair amount of cloud around, but in between any lengthy clear skies, we could see a touch of frost to start Monday. Otherwise, as we go through Monday, it is a case of sunny spells, frequent blustery showers. Some of the showers in the north are still going to be falling wintry, especially over the hills, perhaps even merging to give longer spells of rain across Northern Ireland and more so into parts of Wales. Otherwise, there should be some sunshine in between and temperatures not doing too bad. We'll see highs of up to 9 or 10 degrees in the south. That's all from me. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Now, outraged pensioners are calling on the government to rule against this review to scrap Freeview TV. Now, that could plunge the most vulnerable into isolation and force millions to pay for expensive broadband contracts they simply don't want. Now, a petition has now amassed more than 100,000 signatures, and joining me now is the director of Silver Voices, Dennis Reed, who started this petition. Dennis, always a delight to have you on the show. It sincerely is, and it's not fair to get pensioners who just want to switch on their TV, and many of them do, to watch GB News. Thank you to all of them who are tuning in now on Freeview, to be expected to update. They don't want it. They don't want to go there. Why force them?
Well, absolutely. And it's not just the vulnerable and older people that are going to suffer here, Martin. It's all low-income people who can't afford to have the expensive broadband contract that will be needed if terrestrial TV is switched off and everybody has to get broadband in order to see their favourite programmes, of course, including GB News. So yes, it is extremely important. Millions of people are sitting at home who may have internet TV at the moment, but they also have an aerial on the roof or in the loft, which if they couldn't afford that broadband contract, they could always fall back on and get Freeview TV. Now, the government's going to take a decision in the next few months, a very important decision, about whether to switch off those terrestrial signals. And that has major implications for the economy too, because emergency services rely on the same signal system. Radio relies on the same system.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to the Camilla Tominey Show on GB News. The week began with the Prime Minister marred in scandal and on the brink, but is Sir Keir Starmer secure in his position for now? Joining me shortly to discuss this are the Labour MP Graham Downey. I'll be asking him whether he agrees with the Scottish Labour leader Anna Sarwar that the Labour Party needs new leadership. Earlier this morning I spoke with Dame Priti Patel, the shadow